Okay.
Hello. No. Hello.
You can start. Take the mic.
Start if you can start. Let's do for you.
It's in a short list, taking forever. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Awesome, awesome. Sorry for the delay. I know it's one of those days, but I'm excited that you all are here. And we are going to be hearing lots of information today, and we will be fully informed. And we are just going to start with opening prayer. Holy Father, we just want to thank you. We bless your holy name for today. We thank you for this Father's Day we have made, and we have come together just to receive insights, to cover any gaps, and to bring solution. I pray that even as we begin, may your presence be fully felt here, and may the reason why everyone is tuned in, it would be met. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So we start with the national anthem, which will be played now.
Yeah.
Can you please rise for the national anthem? Our homeland is the children love, now thy sons come. With glowing hearts we sing thee rise, the true, North, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land. Down, down, for thee. Stand on guard. Oh, Canada, our home and in. So welcome everyone again to International Students and Newcomers Summit. I hope you're excited. Can everyone hear me good? People online, can you hear me? Yeah? Awesome, awesome. So the goal for this meeting is just for us to, for international students, if you are here as an international student, I came here as an international student. I did not have this when I came. There was lots of missing information as to what to do, even as an international student, to prepare yourself for the job market. And what meetings like this intend to do is to cover those gaps. So as a newcomer as well, there are questions around settling and setting yourself up for success. So I just hope that as you have come, I promise you that you will not leave the same. You're going to get the answers that you need. So we will just dive right into it. We'll be calling our first speaker. So today we'll be covering career tips, transitioning into tech, business, entrepreneurship, anything you need to understand to really set yourself up for success. We'll be covering that today. And of course, immigration pathways and what you have to do, mistakes you have to avoid, and any questions you have whatsoever in terms of integrating into Canada. So we will start with our speaker, Belvi Nosakare, who is a senior software engineer and co-founder of Wish River. And today he will be covering career tips, what you need to do to really stand out in the job market. He has had a track record since he moved to Canada in 2020, and he's had a very strong track record of designing and scaling software systems for organizations in Canada, the United States, and even beyond. So he has a whole, depth of knowledge that will benefit us today. So I would be calling him up now. Please welcome Belvi Nosakare. A round of applause, please.
Hallelujah. Everyone in the one time. First and foremost, it was just for time to get this set up. My name is Brad Mosaka, really excited to be in this company. And I'm hoping that by the time we are done, I'll be able to just give you not just a run through about career success tips, but we have some really actually good insights on what you can. I'm going to be sharing today from largely personal experience. What has really helped me in my career journey. When I started about 10 years ago, 2015, company called Absol in Nigeria, where we are today. My experience is largely from the texting, but what I've done while going to setting up this slide. Can everybody see the slide? So what I've done while setting up this slide is to just call out the key things that were really transformational in my journey, and what really helped me at the time. But the first thing I'd like to call out is there are a couple of ways people, like invest, right? When you invest, you can invest one in others. And for instance, when you go to the stock market and buy stocks, you are investing in other people, but what you are doing is actually investing in their products. What people actually pay for over time is value. People actually pay for value. And the reason why people pay more for a service for one person than a service from another is because A provides more value than B. Am I correct? So when you take a look at career, the first thing I would like to call out is you're actually investing in yourself. If you take a look at it before when you were born, or when you are born, start the training process, start releasing what you are doing, and then they send you to school. When you go to school, the first thing you are doing is they call it learning phase. But that learning is a lot of investment itself. But after school, that investment itself doesn't stop. The next phase is of investing in yourself is the career phase. When you see career as what they are investing in career, they are investing in your value, right? Because over time you start transitioning maybe from one role to another. What people pay for is that increase in your value, the value that is placed in yourself. All right. So building a career is, for me, aside from gratitude. So whether you are stepping in a new role or you are reinventing yourself in a new country, I've had experience with both. Started in Nigeria with a company called Absol, and after about I think 5 years, I came into Canada as a foreign work permit. As a foreign worker. For my part was quite different because I got the job while I was still in Nigeria, and coming here again and kicking off the process again. So I will share the principle that took me from entry level position to senior to staff level position in a global tech company, and even to starting my own experience, starting my own company. I think I started with the first one already. The first one is building the foundation. That first part is investing in yourself. For my journey, I will start by very first time when I was looking for a role or a job. I remember when I entered the interview room, I started talking with the executives. They do a couple of exercises, they ask questions. One of the questions, in that section was, why do you want to join us? My question was, I've been building a loan, but I want to build something that I want to build something that a lot of people can use. And I see that this company, you're already serving tens of millions of customers in Nigeria. So I want to come and learn, and I want to build and add value. For me, even before I joined in my career journey, before my first interview, I was really inquisitive about building stuff, right? How do I build and get my solutions to the answer? So while I was between the break of my final year and before this interview, I was building a lot of solutions on my mobile device because I just really want to learn. I just really want to know how these things work. I'm a software engineer. How do these things work? How can I do this? How can I build WhatsApp? Not primarily to get it out there, but to just learn, because I had this understanding then that when people want to pay for yourself, they pay for the value that you've placed in yourself. So when I entered that interview room, what I showed was what I have been doing. All right, what I've been doing alone. So I didn't have any prior experience, work experience, right? but I had a lot of mini projects I could show. So when they started asking me, what have you done? It's funny sometimes you're a new graduate, they ask you, what's the experience? Yeah, where do you get this experience from? Right? So I started showing those items, those what I've worked on. And I could remember the look on the face of the CTO. It was like, have you built this yourself? I said, yes, that's very interested in that. Like learning, this is what I want to do. And they give me the opportunity. And there's a scripture that called that out. It says, study to show that self approved. Right? The first level of foundational, you need to make sure whether if you have a job right now, maybe you are looking for a job, it's not a time to just stay back and stay firm. If you're building a career, there needs to be continued investment in self. Continue investment. That's the first level. Second level is in this. What I did was to break this into 3 phases of my career, and each of the phases have really key items. That's that. Second level is having a clear direction. What do you want? For me, it was mainly about growth, mainly about a place where I have that autonomy to be able to build and contribute where my ideas are welcome. And so what that did for me was kind of help me setting priorities, right? So even though my first job was not the best paying job, I had a couple of friends that we went for really high paying job. We were paying them really well, right? For me, I think my first pay share was 25K. That was like 10 years ago. 25,000 a month, right? But that place gave me so much experience that I would have struggled to get everywhere else, right? And the kind of the kind of project that I was being exposed to, for me, I was really like happy about it, right? I could remember because of so much value I placed in personal development when I joined the team I was working on. Sometimes we do 80 hours in a week. What I mean by 80 hours is it's actually very fun. You come to work by 8 a.m. and sometimes we leave by 2 a.m. because we are delivering the project. And I was just a student that, I was still doing NYC or preparing for NYC. For me, some people will frown at it and say, wow, the stress is too much. But for me, I saw that as an opportunity, honestly, to build. I saw that as an opportunity to invest. A lot of the foundation that I have in my tech career was actually developed in that place. Sitting down on issues, right? Because sometimes you're trying to solve a problem, it's not coming clearly. Sit down on it, doing research. That was when, I got a lot of foundation really, really right. So if you find a place that gives you an opportunity to invest in yourself when your career journey just starts, you should definitely prioritize it than chasing maybe more people. Because there are times where you get an exposure to get more people, but you know that in this place they are paying more, but you're probably not learning, you're not going to be learning so much. 2-3 years down the line, when you finish, if you want to look for another job, you don't really have so much record on your career. By the time I finished, when I left that company 3 years after, I had so much track record that a lot of companies were seeking for, when I apply, they want to interview, you get a shortly. So for me, that clear direction was building. I really want to build, I want to involve, I want to build a persona, I want to build my profile, I want to really be knowledgeable on this technological part and this IT on program development. I want to, when I go into an interview and show people this is what I've done, they should be able to read it. They ask me questions, I should have answers. Then the last part was quality work systems. I don't see it as something that if you are working for someone, you just shut it off. One thing you should learn is that when you are in a career, when you are doing a job, the result that comes from it benefits the employer, it benefits your employer, but the experience belongs to you. Nobody can take that part away from you. The profit in terms of maybe the monetary value, public growth, probably will not even get so much from it. So you can't take this go and shares before. Right? You just employ they are software engineer, they are good person. Then they are exposing you to research cases, you are doing work for this organization. One thing you keep in mind is that experience, that experience is for you. It's not something that anybody can take away. So what you should do is you need to do quality work. Do quality work consistently. This has two parts. First part was I helped me in my career when I was starting at Abson. And then when I came back to Canada and started off again. I remember when I came a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, before I left Nigeria, because of how well I was doing my field, I was helping people to build software solutions, build startups, right? Build MVP, build proof of concept. When I came into Canada, the first years I made up my mind, I'm not taking any side gig, right? I really want to focus on this company that I work. Let me understand what their process is. Let me give my 100%, right? And a couple of reasons was that one of the reasons was I don't want to get started that maybe you want to lay off, I'm looking forward to lay off. Start from, So I brought my A game because I was on a temporary work permit. I have to be there. Even when I finished and I got my PR, he still wanted to retain me, right? That's next up. He still wanted to retain me, and I still continue. But the key thing I did in that place was do quality work, looking for opportunities. Like when you do something and you send it out, when anybody uses it within the organization, they're like, oh, who actually worked on this? It's so well done, it's so well thought out. Because what you are doing is you are building a reliable reputation. And I will tell you I did over time. I remember in my first company at Absalom, because of the number of quality work I have done, even when I left, they were still referring me to certain clients, right? Sometimes someone comes to the organization and say, oh, now I've seen this organization online. I want to do some solution. They tell you, oh, we don't do solutions for people. We have our own products, but we have someone who can implement for you, an engineer, and then it happened a couple of times, right? So when you are building your career, is you also remember that you are building a personal brand, right? You are building a personal brand, so you need to be very involved in it. So whatever work you do, that at your job level, let it as that excellence. Let it carry that spirit of excellence. It says, see that the man that is diligent in his work. Proverbs 22 verse 9. He stands before kings and not men, right? Does not stand before another. We stand before kings. Diligence set you apart. So I've given 3 key insights in this first pillar. There are 3 pillars. First pillar is building the foundation. And that foundation is you need to get it right at that foundational level. You need to first have this understanding. Please let me know if you need to first have this understanding that you are investing in yourself. Second one is what is your direction? What do you want to do? Where are you going? Me, I had a clear direction. My direction was to be in a global company, right? I want to be able to build, solutions that tens of millions, billions of people have. Right? How do I get there? Right. So I knew certain things I could start learning, right? And then going quality work consistently. I made mention of why learning drops early. In the early stage of your career, your Canadian career, resist the temptation to choose the highest salary. Sometimes when the highest salary presents a way to learn, you need to be able to assess an opportunity by what the learning potential is, right? Especially when your career is just kicking off. Your core focus should not be so much on pay and maybe they pay you so much. What you realize is you are in this company, maybe they are paying you maybe let's say 150K. And for your mind, that is so much. You join 2-3 years passes, but no real value has grown in terms of investment, what you have learned, your work is just repetitive. What you're going to realize is that when the passage of time, people that actually focus on a place that will give them opportunity to grow, they will pass you in their career journey. They will be left behind, right? So what I choose at that early phase was choosing a company. It really helped me. That gave me that opportunity. To actually implement, to actually practice, to actually build. The growth was so much. I joined as an intern in 2015. when I was living in 3 years, I was living as a senior engineer, and I was leading projects in the company. The reason why was because I had that window. I think it was like 2-3 months in the company that I mentioned, where we were doing like 80 hours in a week. Usually it's 40 hours a week, but 80 hours in a week. For me, I was really excited about it because we leave office and go. It's not absolutely happening since I was doing, right? So it gave me so much time to actually focus, it gave me so much time to actually build, it gave me so much time to actually learn the basics in my career, right? And then it gave me the opportunity to lead a team, even as a junior engineer, lead a team and say, okay, this is the problem we want to solve, this is how to think we should solve problem solving, just thinking and implementing, and that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. Okay. So we are going to go to the next part. One is navigating transitions. And okay, I'll run through. I was going to mention the second phase for me was recognizing and seizing opportunities. In building your career, you need to know when opportunities arise, right? Opportunities that you should take, opportunities that you should skip, opportunities you shouldn't take up. The second one I would like to mention are those skill trees. Yeah, that available in the event yourself. So for a good example is right now, for those of us that know in the IT space, there's a lot of reads about AI, right? Even before AI, in the space that I'm building, there's a time where there's a new programming language to use called Go. So if you sit back and say, oh, I'm going to stick with you, what you're going to realize is that when you're building your career, if you stick with old methodologies, you're not going to be involved in the future, right? There are a lot of paradigm shift that is happening in your career right now. If you stick to the old and don't move to learning what is the new thing, how do you now do this thing, right? What you're going to realize a year or 2 years down the line, you are going to be part of the old careers, right? So part of building a career is being able to be adaptable and continue reinventing yourself. It's very important, right? That happened in different scenarios in my career. Another one was recognizing opportunities. Well, opportunities, a lot of times, they present themselves in terms of new features, new products to be built within the organization. They present themselves in terms of new markets to be explored. A lot of times, when those opportunities come up, people sit back and want to shy away from it. No, if you be ready to take on those opportunities, if you see it as a way to actually build that, this is going to give me an experience to build my own persona, to build my own exposure, to build my own, personality within this space. You will be able to take it on. I remember the first opportunity I got at Hasbro, I got a company that was willing to double or triple about it. But it didn't have, that's what I was looking for. It didn't have so much learning potential. But I wanted to move for it. And I mentioned this because of this last one, seek wise counsel. So what I did was I signed up, right? Because my current company also wanted to match alpha so that I would stay back, right? So I talked to one of them, talked to our pastor. I explained to him, this is what I'm going through. He asked me a couple of questions and he gave me instructions. Said, okay, stay in this company that you're around right now. And that the truth is, why I was asking those questions is I was still learning so much in this company that I was on, right? But that wise counsel helped me a lot. So when you're going through a career journey, it's not a journey that you walk through alone, right? In the market space, they'll tell you, look for mentors, people that have gone through this, process before, that will be able to shine light for you or answer certain questions or tell you, this, don't do that. A scripture that said, where no counsel is, the people fail. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety, right? So it's good to have people that can listen to you, that can give you direction. Let them know, okay, this is the dilemma that I'm on. Another thing is, when I eventually left Amazon, I got an opportunity to a new company. And what was still driving me then was more people to work with. So this time around, it wasn't just beauty anymore. It was people that I can actually learn from, or people that are really there in this industry. So I was vesting it within my company. I need also I almost senior engineers that can learn from and sharpen iron. We're not getting that. So a colleague of mine referred me to a new company that we're putting together a team of really talented senior engineers. When I applied, I got it. I still didn't want to leave, right? I still didn't want to leave because I had so much sentimental attachment to where I was. And then I started praying. I was asking God for direction because this company were offering me way more, and my current company was also said that I'm ready to meet or even double that one. But I remember it was a really confusing phase for me, so I started praying. You know, and it's very important to have clear direction. I know that your career work is not just your own journey, God is actually involved. So I remember clearly when I was praying. So I was like, what should I do? Because and the word I got was very clear that this company, they are not your source. I am your source. These are your chance, right? You need to make the decision. Whichever one you make, it's okay. But you need to know, don't think that these companies are your source. They are just channels. For me, that was how it settled for me. I decided to go to that company, but it gave me so much exposure. And that the exposure it gave me, the network it opened me to, was what led me to eventually come into Canada. The last part I'd like to wrap up with is, remember when I started in the beginning, I didn't mention that in building a career, you should think about the investment is in yourself. But when you get to the later stage of your career, what you should start thinking about is investing in others. That's what's going to make you stand out, right? What are you investing in others? In a lot of tech companies, they have something called mentorship, where senior engineers mentor junior engineers. You go to a point in your career where technically, in terms of what it requires to do the job, you are really sound, you are really strong. But remember, in this building process, you're not just also investing in yourself, you are building the person, right? And you need to be able to, one of the ways to actually make sure things stick is by pouring out in others, being involved, right? Involving, sometimes they call it community projects or community building. See opportunities to actually raise, like within the organization, maybe disabling people or mentoring people. But that part is where actually you complete brand together. So think about the first two pillars. I will actually call that the hard skill, self, building competence, so on and so forth. This last pillar is heavily focused on soft skill. There's a certain level you grow to in your career journey, you are not able to cross over if you've not actually developed a lot of soft skills. A lot of those soft skills is, how do you communicate your impact? How do you communicate your progress? How do you communicate what you've done, right? How do you mentor others? How do you help others to succeed? That's what will actually set you apart. For a couple of us, probably already realize that it looks like you've hit the ceiling in your career, because what you are doing is also how you will change that is developing so much in your soft skills, right? Your career success is going to be soft skills. What I mean by soft skills, investing in people, communication, communicating wins, communicating impact. I think my time is up, but I'd like to wrap up this place. Thank everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bell. That was a very effective session, and it followed a very, very formative part on self-building. The one that stood out for me particularly, and I believe it must have sounded out to you, is the part where you talked about learning over earning. It's very, very powerful. I was looking at that word learning, and I found out that within that word, there is earning. So there's a way you choose the learning and you still retain both. Thank you very much, Mr. Belvey, for that powerful section. Mr. Belvey ended that session telling us about a time in your career path where you have to invest in building other people. And our next speaker is someone that has characterized that. Personally, I have observed her through time. She's dedicated the best part of her time lately trying to coach people, trying to tell people that what we think is very difficult is actually easy, demystifying a lot of myths that it is difficult to get into tech. Talking about visionary sister by the name Ugochi Jessica Omoliri. She's a senior application analyst. She's the founder of Your Tech Big Six, where she coaches people, anyone who is interested in earning soft money by navigating into tech. She's a brilliant mind. She has a lot of certifications, looking at them now, beyond being a master's degree holder in computer science. This person is Amazon Web certified, SQL certified, Microsoft AI Essentials, even down onto supply chain within Six Sigma. What that means is that this person is able to help you make a lot out of little. So it will do us very well to listen to this found wisdom that is also well rooted in God. Please let us welcome our next speaker, Ugochi Omoliri.
I'll be speaking on how the community tech. And I'm assuming that who here, the reason why you came here is because you transition into tech. Okay, okay. So I'm assuming the reason why you came here is because you want to transition into tech. How did I transition into tech? Mine was different, and what I'll be sharing today is my experience. I studied electronic in school, and then I went for my master's in computer science. It was in my computer science school that I realized that, studying electronic computer engineering is not computer science. So they made me take like 13 undergraduate courses on computer science. So to help you bridge the gap. So one way someone can transition is when you go through school. So that's how I did mine. But for my coaching experience, I'm going to be sharing tips on how I coach my clients, how you can easily transition into tech. It's quite easy. Okay. My approach is because of my experience. I've met people who have been in this journey of transitioning into tech and they've been confused. You know, they've taken series of courses, they've joined a lot of boot camps and they are still confused. You know, they'll just say, oh, I'm tired, this is so difficult, right? And they can't do it. So the first step to take when you want to transition into tech is to have self-awareness. And that is why I teach when my clients come to me. I give them an AI tool I build specifically where it will ask you your weaknesses, your strengths, and then it will ask you what do people think about you, and then also you upload your CV. So this information that my AI tool generates, it generates a report that helps you to understand, okay, these are the two tech roles that fit your personality, your weaknesses, and your experience. So you don't have to, a lot of people say, oh, I'm a lawyer and I want to transition into cloud, right? Which is okay, you can transition into cloud, but you need to first of all know yourself, right? Are you a people's person? Do you like communication? So the personality fits. Are you a deep focus person? Do you like analysis? You like when they give you money, you're able to analyze trends and stuff. Naturally, it wasn't in a very structured approach, but you think you have a deep analytic mindset, right? Are you a process person? You like structures, you like to put structures in place automatically, you're very organized, you're very systematic and all of that. You love to solve problems. When there's a problem now, you're very excited to solve issues. So these are little personality checks that you need to first of all know about yourself before you can transition into tech. Why? So that you don't burn money in boot camps and getting frustrated, paying thousands of dollars, and you still don't continue because you need to know yourself, right? And I would say this, tech is like a city. Your personality decides where you thrive in.
Okay, it's like a CTU. It's your personality that will decide, okay, I'm very good in communication. That means, I can be a scrum master. I'm very good with, persuasion. That means I can be a sales tech person. So these are things you kind of match your personality to when you're transitioning. So that way you don't get frustration, and you can easily just blend into the tech space because the tech industry is actually very huge and there's a space for everyone, right? Okay. That's one thing. Another thing you need to know when you want to set personality fit, like checking yourself, having that need time to know, okay, I want to transition to tech. I need to know what I'm doing in tech, right? And now, second thing is know your why. Pastor Belvi just talked about having like that roadmap, like having a very strong why, having a sense of direction. Because in the tech industry, there are a lot of things flying around. Now AI is booming. Everybody's like driving into AI. Before it was cloud, DevOps, everybody was doing DevOps and all of that, right? So right now AI is one taking over the world, but you need to stay grounded in your why so that way the wave don't take you. You're rooted. It's like I always use analysis that a boat being anchored, at the harbor. Even when the wave comes, it's just still there. Yes, you might take a bit of AI to add to what you already do, but you're not going to entirely guess. You know what? AI is what's raining now, so let me fly, So know your why. If you can say that money is your why, I want to go where the money is. It's interesting. Pastor Bev talk about, when you go for the money, you might have less experience. Some people, I've met somebody who came to me and said, she has an interview that if I can help her, that she is a lawyer. I think she just finished law program, but she just did a little boot camp and then she wants to transition into DevOps. I told her, okay, let me see the description. And it was a senior DevOps. And I asked her, why are you going for a senior role? Like you just literally finished a boot camp. Why not start from junior role and then grow from there? But people are all good about the money. Money is good, but it's not a strong why, because if you choose money, they're gonna find out. If you get that job, they're gonna fish you out that you're not, like, you don't have a debt. So you need to start small. Okay. I hate my job, it's not a strategy. So you want to have something like, okay, I love remote work, I'm very good with system and process, and I have a mindset, problem solving mindset. So these are the skills that you would need to, have in you to determine where, like what you should choose in tech. Okay. So now, that's it. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, first thing I talk about your personality, the second thing is know your why, and then the third thing I'm going to talk about is your industry experience. Now I'm going to say, for instance, someone comes to me and say, I'm a lawyer and I want to transition to business system analyst, for instance. The first thing I'm going to take you through this process, like the first process, know what points your weaknesses and all of that, and then give you like a roadmap, right? But you also need to make sure that your industry experience is not wasted. For a lawyer, I tell people who come to me as a lawyer, I tell them that, you don't have to go far away. If you love law, like if you're a lawyer and you love like what you do, like you love your job, right? It's not like maybe I hate my job. You love being a lawyer, but maybe you're in a different environment, like in Canada, and it seems like tech industry is easier to transition into, or maybe you find out that, you know what, I want to build a product. I want to be a product manager. I want to be in the tech space. Good, right? But I would suggest that you can still take your experience as a lawyer and transition into tech and still be in that space. Now, for instance, the person as a lawyer can actually transition into the AI industry. What you need to do is just to improve yourself, go take certification in, if maybe your law is not like a pro bono case, like you go to the court, or maybe if your law is in maybe managing the board of directors, a secretary or something. So I know that law is actually very broad. Let's say, for instance, where you are from Nigeria or anywhere you are, you manage board of directors, right? but now you're in Canada, you want to transition into tech. You can take courses like data governance, compliance, and all those risk courses, certificates, get trained on that. And then you can now, from there, start looking for a job around, an AI industry, maybe because a lot of AI companies are springing up now. They will need people that will help them not to, get into trouble, like data leakage and all of that. So instead of just moving from law to cybersecurity, the gap is too much. You want to stay within that same industry. Maybe when you get in as a lawyer, maybe you're a data governance person, a compliance or risk person with a law background, right? And then in the company, you cannot see opportunity. Maybe you now want to do you want to leave your law background, then you can now do that because you're already in tech, right? So your industry experience should not be wasted, okay? Lean into it. Don't start from zero. Let's say you have like 5 years of experience and you come to Canada. You don't want to start from ground zero as a cybersecurity person where you already have 5 years of experience. I think it's too much. You just find a way to lean into that same industry. Let's say, for instance, I would say someone who does customer success. Maybe you receive phone calls for people, right? And maybe it could be for the bank, maybe for TD Bank, a customer service person, you just receive phone call and just resolve their issue. And you want to get into like proper tech background where you are solving issues and all of that. It's actually a good experience when you put on your CV that, oh, I work as a TD Bank and as a customer service at TD Bank. So if, for instance, Scotiabank or any other bank can see, this person already has a financial industry experience, right? And they want to now become maybe a cloud engineer or maybe an application support person. They'll say, okay, because of this, your financial background, I think you're a good fit. So it will add to that to help you stand out from the crowd, right? That don't have any financial background and all of that. So, like I said, a banker can, like someone who did a customer success can transition to application support. All you just need to do is to as first of all, you already have that customer experience. You're already interacting with your customers. That gives you, because application support is about, troubleshooting issue, resolving issue that customer complain. You're already having that one-on-one already. So that's actually an edge for you, right? So all you need to do is to figure out, okay, I'm in TD Bank as a customer support person, just as recall, how do I, transition within the same TD Bank or outside? You can also, understanding the application that customer is always complaining. If, for instance, is like a mobile app application, oh, I'm having login issue, or saying that I'm not able to make transfer, you then go back, you say, okay, you can tell your line manager, I want to learn about how the system works, how this application the customer complain about. So you can go to the Confluence page, the data page of the company, and go and learn on your own and understand, go and look at the architecture of the application, the mobile application, what services talk to this service, okay, how is this built and all of that. So that when you transition to an application support, you already know the application, you know the customer, and now you know the application you're supporting. So yeah, so what you do is you map your personality to your experience to get the right tech tool. So not just, oh, I'm a lawyer, I want to go to cybersecurity. Why do you want to go to cybersecurity? Yes, it's booming. Why? What is your why? If your why is strong and say, see, I love money, I love to hack things, okay, that's good, right? So because your why will keep you rooted, keep you grounded, right? So so that should be like how your mindset should be, just so that you can stay on the right lane without being, confused and all of that. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is after you've determined what role you want to take, you've gotten your why, you've checked your personality, you have you're going to maintain your same experience. And this experience I'm talking about any industry, even if you're in logistics, for instance, as logistics, as transition into tech, in a company that logistic companies, they use, you guys know SAP now, is SAP. Yes, SAP is like for inventory. Maybe you're a supply chain person, you're a logistic person, you know how to the operation work, but you don't know the app. You just use the app to put, okay, numbers of things and all of that. you can still transition into someone who is a SAP admin. If you take the courses, your supply chain experience and logistic experience, you can still transition. So it applies to everything. Okay. Okay, yeah. So the next thing after that now is to now have like a direction, like a focus 90 days plan. So it's not just, okay, I want to transition, you just go to Udemy and you just start. No, you're going to have like a focus plan, a detailed plan, and as well as an accountability partner. You also want to join community of people who are transitioning like you, because community helps a lot. And I know that in Canada, community helps a lot. I've seen people who have transitioned into tech by going for community, for events, tech events happening around Canada. They've gone for events and they've met recruiters and they've been very honest with their experience and say, oh, I want to transition, I'm learning this and that. And the recruiter welcomes them and all of that, right? So it's very important for you to have a plan, and that plan should include going for events happening around you and meeting with people who are in the same journey as you. Right, so you can have like, so for your detailed plan, you can break it down to like first 3 months for getting hands-on experience. So you need to get hands-on experience on the role you want to go for. Let's say, for instance, you want to transition into a cloud engineer or maybe a DevOps engineer. The first thing you need to do as someone who doesn't have any experience in tech, you need to get your IT fundamentals in check. You need to start from the basic. Like I told you, mine, even though I studied electronic computer engineering, they still made me take like 13 undergraduate. So I'm going for my master's course. The next, like after some hours, I have to go for undergraduate. So I had undergraduate colleagues and I had master's colleagues, right? So they had to make sure that my foundation, and so I did foundation in data management, in computers, and I was writing code and all of that because I want to ensure that they have reached that gap, that knowledge gap. So you want to get your IT fundamentals straight. So there are free courses online that you can even, I think Harvard has this computer C350. I don't know if they're still doing it, where it's free of charge, where you can get your IT fundamental, learn like the basic, how does computer communicate with each other, what is networking, and all of that. But, okay, let me add this. What I always advise people that want to transition into tech is that application support role is one of the best ways to transition. As an application support person, I wear many hats. If I choose to go to product management, I'm going to do very well. If I choose to go to business system and analyst, I'm going to do very well. If I choose to go to project management, I'm going to do very well. You know why? Because we wear many hats. It's like, for someone who doesn't have experience in computer science, if you start with application support analyst or engineer, you're going to do very well, because you will wear a hat of, you would work with data, you're going to work with cloud infrastructures, you're going to work with application, you're going to work with customers, you're going to work with, like, you're literally going to do everything. We call us, we are like jack of all trades, right? So, but along the line, you want to now be a master of one. But so I always advise people to start from that and learn all the fundamentals, learn everything that you need to know, okay? So that's like, I just have to put that there. So start with your roadmap, which is 3 months of hands-on experience. Like I said, one transition into cloud, for instance, you need to know your IT fundamentals. After knowing your IT fundamentals, you then begin to know like core technologies, like cloud, for instance, AWS, for instance. You want to know about AWS, Azure, GCP. You also want to have like hands-on. So it's not really about just learning theory. So it has to be like a project base. So you're doing tasks after everything, after every learning, there's a task for you. There are so many courses online on Udemy, and all of that. But I'll advise you to go for like trainings where you have community of people, so you can ask questions, right? And all of that. So after you are done with your 90 days plan, the goal after your 90 days plan is to have your portfolio on GitHub. So you put all your projects on GitHub where you can showcase for instance, to your recruiter that, oh, I built this project, I did this and that, right? And they're able to say, okay, fine, they can verify it on your GitHub page or repo to see that, okay, this person was able to, you know, deploy this product, deploy this app and build this complex, you know, software and all of that. So after your experience, don't be shy, you know, start putting yourself out there, okay? Start telling your story. Don't be shy that you transition. Start telling people, oh, this is what you're doing and all of that, because you don't know who can help you. You start going for events out there. There are a lot of events in Canada, right, that you can go for. Just be intentional about it. Change your LinkedIn profile. You tailor it to fit what you've studied, and tailor your resume as well. And then another thing that you can do is to go do some research on the companies you want to transition into or you want to work in, and know what their criteria is when they say, for instance, if they are looking for cloud engineers, okay, are they using AWS? Is it Azure? Is it GCP? Is it Azure? Is it GCP they're using? So you want to know what this company, you know, they want, what is happening, what is the latest in cloud, what is the latest in AI, what is the latest in data and all of that. So you want to just be on LinkedIn, and then as you learn, just keep posting on LinkedIn. Oh, I deployed this application, I did this and that. That would help. Recruiters will see that, oh, this person actually is learning and is growing, and the person is doing like a good job. So with your experience, let's say, for instance, like I said, with your customer service experience, it's easier for someone to say, okay, fine, I see that you're a customer service person and you know cloud. So please, can you come and do a cloud support role for us? Because you know cloud and you have experience in supporting customers. So that's like a very good mix, I would say. Role. So tell your story, don't be shy, get an accountability partner, join a community. I already said that. And, don't give up. When I came into Canada, it took me some time, even though I had over 6 years of experience in tech before coming here. It took me like 6 months to get a job. At a point, it's not because of I knew where I was going. I think I had advice from people telling me, don't go for senior roles, go for junior roles. Oh, go and work at Tim Hudson, just get more money, or even go and do I think it's PW, yeah, to go through that, just to, because I was paying bills monthly and no money was coming, so my money was just going down, but I had to stay consistent. So I believe that applying to jobs in Canada is a number thing. I applied to 200 jobs per week. So if I apply to 200 jobs per week, there's no how 1 or 2 interviews will not come your way. So don't give up. Even when you see nothing, even when you get rejection, just keep applying. And that is where your why comes in. Your why will help you stay grounded. Even if you're getting rejection, you're not seeing anything, you're not going to start moving to where everybody's looking. You're going to stay still. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much. There was a time I saw I think one of her small snapshots on WhatsApp regarding what she did. I knew that a lot of value was resident, but I did not know how much when it became necessary to click onto some things. I decided to wait until the day when I can get it free of charge, and I've gotten too much free of charge. Now I feel guilty. I feel like I should pay for listening to all this. Well, I guess we're going to be learning more during the panel section. Please stay tuned for that section. But before then, we are going to be inviting our next speaker. Now, whether your career is in tech or you're trying to build a career in a new environment, one thing we should be conscious about is the environment. And every society and dispensation understands that there is power in diversity. For instance, if you go to the USA. It is called this United States diversity. If you come to Canada, you see diversity at work, migration, immigrants coming in, and you find development there. There are two states in Nigeria, Abuja and Lagos, because it is multicultural, they are more developed than the other states in the country. And so when you come to a country like Canada, you find out that over 90% of the people there are immigrants. And that tells you that immigration is a big deal. Understanding how to stay on the compliant path of this immigration is very, very important. Our next speaker is an authority in this area. He is both a Nigerian and Canadian trained lawyer, and he focuses on immigration law, stuff like study permit, and even if it is a permanent residence, permit like express entry, whatever updates you need regarding immigration, this is one person you want to listen to. I'm told that one of his hobbies are suspense movies, so you really be on the edge of your seat when he's listening or when you're speaking, and then commenting. So you don't want to be so afraid if he has to speak to you. So please let us welcome Barrister Ebube. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I was wondering who you are talking about. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we want to look into navigating the Canadian immigration system. So as you know, my name is Ebube. I practiced law in Nigeria for some years before coming to Canada. I have some passion dealing with this. When people talk to me about some mistakes they've made immigration-wise, one of the things I noticed is that they remember the lawyer when it has now become bad. When it is now bad and it's like there's little you can do, but then we still do that little we can do in form of advocacy. You know, you don't want to be in that place where you have breached the law already. It's better you're in compliance than you have breached, and we are now having to use other methods to do advocacy for you. But it still works. We still have some results doing things like that. So overview of today's session. I have two main things in my heart I want to touch today. One is about the compliance I talked about and avoiding making some mistakes, especially if you're temporary residents. Temporary residents include visitors, students, and temporary workers. All right. And then the other angle is about eventually getting permanent residency, because that should be in the mind of anybody that wants to do immigration. So we can continue. Overview of today's session. I will not go through the list, just to put it. Okay, fine. All right, so the common immigration mistakes that I've seen people make, not understanding or maintaining legal status. Working too many hours. Okay, let me talk about this understanding legal status. They've stopped letting people to come as visitor and just transition to worker. Agents just, I used to say things like, you can do the application yourself, you can do it yourself. Now, having crossed over to become a practitioner, my message has changed. Ask. If you cannot retain a professional, at least get somebody that understands to ask questions. So agents, from different countries, I won't call it my country, will tell the person, we'll just do the thing for you, you go and work. And people just like that, will relax, they will work the visa for me. They will just work it. In Canada, somebody just told you, you use visa and come, and then when you get there, you will sort it out. It's better you knew what you are coming into. It's better you are the one that decided to take that risk than that you were promised something and you just thought it to happen. Temporary status has different things you can do with it. Study permit has what you can do with it. Work permit has what you can do with it. It's limited. Even I have further knowledge that even permanent residency is very limited. It has not very, it has some limitations to it. The permanent residents cannot vote in Canadian election. There are some things, a permanent resident can still lose that status. You don't meet your residency obligation. If you commit what they call a serious crime, and one example of a serious crime is drunk driving, you can lose your permanent residence. So it's not a status you get and you've gotten it permanently. You know. So my focus today is on temporary residence. So you need to understand your status and what it can do. Okay, the error, working too many hours or working illegally. I left it at illegally before until I added with SIN. Right? So let's be clear. You will not meet any lawyer, including myself, that will tell you to work illegally. But once you do whatever you are doing and the system finds it, it's going to be a very big deal getting you out of it. It's like they're merciless in some of those areas. You know, what we try to do is frame humanitarian and compassionate application. Please, they didn't know. It's like you are falling into a trap and you're now trying to come out of it. So please don't do it. Remember my slide initially said don't work illegally. So if you can, if it's not a matter of life and death, try to just stay within legal hours. Because you're going to pay a huge price if the system finds. The system here is so strong that you can think you are hiding something, but there's a way to track it. So let's just be very careful of compliance. I've seen people meet me, and I tell you, as I told you, they usually come when it's bad. When it's bad. I wish you asked me before doing it. I just wish you asked somebody before, so I'll tell you not to do it. Okay. Choosing the wrong program of study, not eligible for PGWP or SOWP. We're going to look at some of that. When choosing program now, there's been a lot of changes. PGWP, the kind of programs you can do and get it, you're eligible for it. The kind of program you need to do to be able to get your spouse if you are married. So you just need to be conscious of that before taking programs. It's no longer all commerce. There's a time Canadian immigration was a little bit freer. Now, when you want to consult with somebody, you are just praying, let it be that I have something for this person. Because things are really a bit tight now. And then a lot of restrictions here and there. Okay, so you need to check the program. Don't just take any program. Be sure that it's eligible for the purpose for which you want it. Delaying PR planning until it's too late. I think that PR planning for someone that's coming as a student should start from even the course you choose. Are there jobs in that area? Is this area in demand? You don't just take any course now. Let's just get there first. Even if you do, then let it be that you have planned to maybe take other courses like we are talking about to be able to get a job that is in demand. Because if you are coming as a temporary resident, you are not as free as a permanent resident. Right? Some people have to take their PSW to be able to at least get their PR. Some people do that. Some people do that. Yeah. You may feel bad for someone that you feel like it's not you, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. Some people move to regions that there is now permanent residency opening. I noticed some draws they did recently for OIMP. They said they targeted us. They said non-GTA. That is, make sure it's not GTA. Imagine targeting GTA. Any other place, don't just be GTA. So they are looking to spread people to other parts of Ontario, other parts of Canada. Yeah, so I've seen people have to take jobs to get to some places so that they can get permanent residency and all that. Take some occupation so that they can get it. All in the end is that you should plan for your permanent residency even before your flight, even before your application for admission, as early as possible. Is that okay? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Not understanding the PGWP rules. I hope to go into this. Example, applying after your status expires. You know, PGWP is something you should apply while your status is still, you still have your study permit valid. It's even said that if it's expiring, you should apply to extend it, you know. Okay, let me get them. Poor record keeping. There are times I meet people, I'm asking for, can I get the form you submitted in your previous application? It was my agent, though. My agent that did it. I don't know. But you cannot shout like the client. Keep your records. Keep your records. Okay, if I'm going to look at the last point before I come back, misrepresentation, inconsistency, uploading wrong or incorrect documents. I've seen people, you know, they have names for different things to upload, and you upload the wrong document somewhere. I've seen somebody get 5 years ban. Immigration right now, I believe they are bloody. They are bloody now. Very, very bloody. People get a lot of procedural fairness letters now, even in permanent residency application. There are lots. Explain this, prove this, show us pay stubs for this, show us this. You know, you don't have the, if you could manage before, right now, you don't have the liberty to just make anyhow mistake. No. This guy got 5 years ban. He cut, you know how he split PDF and all of that. Split PDF, put a page that was not the letter of acceptance and uploaded it there. So there was nothing. They gave the guy refusal, I added a ban. You know, but when I read everything I saw, this guy, there was no mistake. There was no intention to defraud the system. It was a mistake. We submitted the reconciliation request. And I told him to ask the school to write for him. The school took a lot of time to agree to do that. The reconciliation request was in there. Once the school gave us that letter and it was put inside the web form that we already submitted, next thing they opened the application. They opened it again. Bad news on the other side. It was refused again, but no more 5-year ban. You understand? The ban was for misrepresenting. It's a very serious matter. If you are found to have misrepresented, it's called inadmissibility. You can get 5-year ban for doing that. It's better they just found that you did not provide everything and just refuse. Refusal is better. So they don't have to deal with and all these countries share information. US, UK, they all share information to look like there's something with you before they now respond. So if you are dealing with a refusal, it's good to go in depth. You know, I was saying I didn't want to use this slide because I wanted to touch some things. Okay, let's continue. Not seeking immigration advice or knowledge or getting unverified immigration advice from the wrong people. Right? One of the things we encourage, join right communities. Fine, even if you can afford consultation, like I can mention my consultation fee. I have changed. I used to do I'm offering a free immigration consultation for everyone that registered. Okay, you know, you need to say what you can manage. We said before for everybody that came in person, right? Well, everybody that attended, I think we'll put a form before the session ends. Everybody that also online, because I noticed we have more online than in person. Because in dealing with immigration matters, I realized there is generic information, there is online, everything is online, right? There are YouTube videos, but about your own case, you kind of need specific information about your case. Apart from the general information you get, you now check, does it apply to me in my circumstance? Okay, so getting this wrong information, wrong advice, you make a decision that can affect yourself, affect your whole family. You know, it's very, very important to get the right information. So study permits, general eligibility for this letter of acceptance from a DLI for financial support. What you are proving here is that you have tuition. It's recommended and needed that you show first year tuition for a program of more than 1 year. You know, first year tuition is still funny. Then in addition to that, 22,895. In the next slide, there's a table, you can quickly flash it. There's a table depending on the number of, please time me. Number of family, it depends on the number of family members, you know, to know how much to show in addition to the tuition. So that's the proof of fund to show. And I noticed even when you're applying from outside Canada, you still need to show this. When you're applying for extension, you still need to show that you have all this. Strong explanation of purpose of study. This is very critical. You need to actually show the officers, and even the next point, to prove to an officer that you leave Canada when your study permit expires. So it's recommended to write a very good letter, very good letter of explanation, statement of intent, statement of intent showing, okay, this is my trajectory, my career trajectory, my education back home, or where you're coming from, and here now, I want to now take this program because I have this before and I want to build on this. I'm taking this, and the next line is I'm going back. I am going back. Even if you have intention of being permanent resident, it's called dual intention. People always ask me, is this not going to be something against my permanent residency intention or application? No, the system recognizes dual intention. So while applying for visitor visa, while applying for work permit, these are temporary residency application, you should be showing that you are going to go back. You're going to show ties to back home, show funds. Funds can demonstrate ties to, in a way. Somehow it's connected. Your employment. No, you didn't take the better one. let's check though. Okay. So you need to show I'm going to go back. I have plans of going back because I'm working, I'm married, I have family. I have investments, I have business, I have to go back. When you really prove all of this and maybe it's refused, God forbid, you see a refusal. So when someone like me, I usually do reconciliation these days, judicial review is still a strong process to challenge refusal, but it takes time and some clients are not willing to go through that. And we do charge well for it in my firm, because it's a court process. So some people are not easily eager to do that. But if you did show all those proof of tie, proof of funds, you showed it well. There are documents showing it, and I can see it when I review it. We can see it that you did show that the officer must have made an unreasonable decision by refusing you. Then we have something to use to challenge it. Okay. You also need a provincial attestation letter. There is one error I've seen in practice where you use a provincial attestation letter and the application was refused and you try to reapply the same year with that same PL, they won't accept it, except you withdrew it or the application was not dealt with. If it was a returned application, then they have not made a decision on it. Okay, let me just move on. Your responsibilities as a student. I want to focus on the key conditions, right? Because in this, you see the things that make people have issue, because these are international students and newcomers summit. The things that make people, when you're now trying to apply for your PGWP or you're trying to apply for permanent residency, it can come up. Even if you manage to escape, the next time you're trying to put in another application, that's when it comes up. Okay, you must remain actively enrolled and making academic progress. Do not take unauthorized leave. Right? The person that can give you the authorization is the school where you're studying the DLI. Authorized will be maybe medical reasons for pregnancy, family emergency, or you're in the process of changing DLI from one school to another. Okay, DLI is designated learning institute. 2, not taking authorized leaves longer than 150 days from your study program. So it is important not to take even the authorized leave for it to be more than 150 days. You must meet full-time student requirements. Then if you want to change schools, there's a process for it, right? You should apply to extend your study permit. Funny enough, that's the word they use. Apply to extend your study permit. Work limits up to 24 hours during academic sessions. If you do more than this, pay stub show it, SIN show it, you already have an issue. You can become inadmissible and the officer can refuse any next application you make. And that will not be, because it's in the past, you will not be able to go back and change your past. If it's there, it's there. That's something that is not good, right? Another one I've seen that I bolded, You should not work before you start studies. You came into Canada earlier than your start date. Do not start working until you have started studying. So while you are in active study, then you can work in that period. Yeah, if you are switching schools, if you are on unauthorized leave, you should not be working. And if you are not studying, you cannot work off campus. You can only return to work once you are studying. This thing may sound simple, but people fall into the trap all around that. Many people come to Canada with study permit because they want to work. So they now want to use shifts and enjoy themselves. And it's not their fault. People need to pay bills. When you see rules, it's not their fault. They need to make money. But should be careful. Some people try to get their spouse to come around so the spouse can now work very well and be able to support. These are things to help mitigate all of this. Must comply with the conditions listed on your permit. So look at your permit, the study permit you get issued when you are coming into the border. It will have conditions there. You will see it and be careful to comply. Now, there is another one that may apply to many more people. Apply to extend before your temporary status expires. Apply to extend before it expires. That's the only way you can get maintained status, if you do the application before it expires. Then, if you want to convert from being on study permit or a work permit, maybe you're about to lose it or you don't want to leave Canada, or you're on a visitor visa and you stayed up to 6 months, you want to stay longer, you can apply for visitor record. It's recommended to do it within, before 30 days to the end of that permit that you have. If for any reason your application was refused or something and you lost status, you can do restoration within 90 days. You will still prove everything that needs to be proved to get the permit in the first place. Anything required to get study permit, work permit, you need to still prove it to be able to do restoration. Restoration works. It does work, and we do it as long as you have all the things in place. And within that 90 days, once you have applied, you can continue being in Canada without any issues. Okay, next slide on how to change school. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to go into it because of time. Open work permit for spouse of study permit holder. If you're studying master's, PhD, or any of the professional degrees, your spouse can get an open work permit. Post-graduation work permit. Eligibility is that you completed a PGWP eligible designated learning institution. You took a course that you confirmed, that there was a CIP code for it, that course is eligible. Just before taking any program, you must check. You see an admission letter, you must go back to the RC portal and check that this program is eligible for what I'm looking for. Some schools are fair enough to say whether their program is or not. Usually, if a program is less than 8 months, it won't be. That's a general rule of thumb. You won't be eligible. Okay, you maintain full-time studies as a student during each semester, or you switch to part-time in your final semester. You must apply for PGWP within 180 days of confirmation that you completed your study program. Within 180 days. If that time passes, it becomes a problem. Your study permit was valid at some point during the 180 days after you graduated and before you submitted your PGWP application. So as at the time of doing that, as the time of doing PGWP, anybody online, anybody as a student, hearing my voice here in the room, online, before your study permit expires, that's when you should submit PGWP. You must have also completed the program, but let it not be that your study permit has expired. If it has expired, you have to apply for another extension of study permit before you can do the PGWP. PGWP is a one-time, once in a lifetime opportunity. You cannot get it again. Some people get their spouse to go back to school, then they get open work permit, then when the spouse completes school, gets PGWP, then they also get work permit. That's how they buy. These things are buying more time. At least you're still looking for permanent residency, but don't do anything that will spoil it, right? spoil your process, okay? I guess it's like 3 more minutes. Now you know there's a requirement to do an English test and score 7. Okay. We are not eligible if you don't. Let me just leave that. Remember, if your spouse who gets, if the spouse of a foreign worker or a PGWP holder will get work permit, open work permit, they need to have a tier 0 or 1 or some select occupations in tier 2 or 3 and have 16 more months at least in their work permit. Okay. In express entry, in getting in permanent residency pathways, I'm going to mention category-based draw, French language proficiency. I'm going to say this to everybody. If you can learn French, if you're in process to get permanent residency in Canada, if you can learn French, if you can, just know that we welcome you. If you can, it's really, sometimes I wonder why the policy behind wanting to have more French speakers outside of Quebec. If you are from some country where some people have tried to, I'm about to speculate now. There's a province that wants to leave Canada, and maybe they're trying to pacify them. Okay, so this may be speculation. Okay, 2, healthcare and social services occupation. So there's healthcare and there's even community service in the same list. Doctors, pharmacists, dentists. I know a lot of people who have gotten permanent residency by this pathway, by category-based job as a healthcare or social service occupation. And here, all you need to qualify is that in the past 3 years, you have at least 6 months of experience in that field. Then there is the STEM. STEM is not, because what I do is usually to also go and see the draws that are happening. That tells me what's, is it what somebody is investing in? So when I see people who speak French, when I see anybody in healthcare or social service, I'm very happy to serve you. You understand? Because I know my effort is not going to be wasted. Okay, but STEM, have looked at it, the draws, the pastimes, the frequency is not so great in this category-based draw. Trade occupations, they still get it. Agriculture and agri-food. Education is something I see that is also very workable. You serve as an education assistant. And if you go into the link, I may not be able to go into that. You see the occupations listed. All these things, apart from the French, you will see the occupations listed specifically with the NOC. You will then check with the work you did and see if you can align to that NOC. That's one of the things we do in consultation. We look at your job, we look at your job description, what you do, check it with the NOC and see the right NOC that matches. Okay, then they added something new. Physicians with Canadian work experience. If they have 12 months in Canada, they will be able to get it. Provincial nomination is ongoing. I think I'll just stop with this one, right? Provincial nomination is still ongoing. I checked even in this December, they still give OIMP, if it's the expression of interest system, you can go direct. You don't need to go through express entry. Or if it's through the human capital priorities and French, then you get 600 points while you are in the pool. I recommend to everybody, meet an immigration lawyer. As soon as maybe you have your PGWP, try to enter the pool, right? And try to enter with something you've seen that gets invitation, right? Check yourself. Okay, let me end with this, right? I've been seeing, this one is on the slide, man. I've been seeing people changing NOCs. So they entered with NOC today, so you're a doctor today, then the next day you're now a lawyer. How does that make sense? I saw how your face even changed. So people do that change in NOC. And now IRCC is going to bring back, you said in your previous profile that you are this, and it leads to a procedural fairness letter. So I encourage that if you are taking any step to enter, think well and know that if you put, you may not be able to change it. If you change it, then there must be a good explanation. You can say that I was a nurse in the morning and the doctor in the night or something. There must be somehow an explanation that explains how you suddenly move from one thing to another. So when you are entering, make up your mind, this is the path I want to pursue and that you're going to pursue it. They are talking about a new temporary residency. to PR pathway that is coming. I don't want to speculate. Some people are hinting construction workers. It may also be caregivers. We saw a pathway that had opened. It happened this year, and that same day, that same day, and the porter was hanging that day. But that same day it got full. So OIMP, I'm still seeing some draws, and usually OIMP, where they are now, employer portal, they want an employer to give a job offer, go through the process on their own side. So it's a two-way process now. They want employer to do something, sponsor you in the system, then you now take the job offer and also do your own expression of interest system. So now if you have an employment that can sponsor you, that's where you have a chance with OIMP. I'm not seeing much traction on the general pathway to just get into OIMP. Usually, employer offer is what is working. Okay, let me stop here. If you need consultation, we are going to do a quick Google form and put it on the Zoom, and everybody here who can schedule something. So we'll look into your file, and I will not charge. And actually, it's worth $250 to have a meeting with me. And that's what I'm giving to anybody that books it for free. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Ibe. Like, I have been blessed by every speaker here. There's just so much gems that have been shared. I was so related to everything from career tips, learning to earning is very, very important because I know a lot of people come. The money is good. You want to get the money, but you need to learn as well and invest in yourself and understand your why, because truly that will set you up for success. And what Ugochi was saying about transitioning to tech. Personally, I transitioned into tech. I studied, I have a background in business, and coming into this country, I knew where I wanted to work. I've been here now for 15 years actually. So I knew where I wanted to work. So I had the financial background and I knew that I wanted to work in tech. And like she said, every field, every industry has that tech side of it. So once the interest was there, it was easier for me because I already had financial background, right? So I wasn't trying to move into something that is new. I've always known whatever you're doing, it's not a waste. Transitioning into tech is very popular. Everyone wants to go into it, but whatever you're doing, I believe that our life journey is intertwined. Find a way to not lose completely what you were doing. But and of course, immigration, whatever you're putting out, the system knows. So you want your story to be consistent across board, and of course, keep it honest at all times. So I just wanted, before we go into the Q&A session, I wanted to talk a bit about Thrive. Thrive is an organization that is in collaboration with what we're doing today, this summit we're having today. And the goal is really to just empower newcomers, empower international students with programs that will help them settle and provide, even work support, anything that you need to set you up for success. That's the vision of Thrive, to ensure that if you're struggling, a lot of people come in here, substance abuse, so many things that are happening. Thrive is there to set you up and to guide and provide what you need at every point. So please, if you want to stay connected, there's a WhatsApp group. They host meetings like every month, I believe. So please stay connected and get all the support. Information is very key in this country. You come in, find communities and plug yourself in so that you don't miss out. Okay, so I think we would start the Q&A session now. So we will have our speakers come in front and we would begin now, okay?
Okay, so we've already heard from 3 of our panelists, and we'll invite them first quickly before we introduce the other 2 and invite them as well. So let's make welcome back Pastor Belvin. Secondly, Sister Ogochi Omulere. And thirdly, Pastor Ebube Onyediokodo. So we have 2 other panelists. The first one is a business juggernaut, an eye that identifies opportunity even in its infancy and crude state, having been a business development professional for, electronic powerhouses like IG, like LG, Motorola, Huawei, and also raised his own business even to a very, very enviable revenue stream. We are going to be tapping from a stream of wisdom to be able to identify opportunities even in a strange land. Please let's make welcome Mr. Christian Gallagher. Thank you very much, sir. I can do all things through God that strengthens me. Now, if that entire world was a person, that will be the next person who will be introducing as a very vibrant pastor, a cybersecurity professional, an IT professional, a realtor, very successful in all of these fields, and a seasoned entrepreneur. We are very, very happy to learn from the pool of wisdom which he powers by the grace of God. And let's make welcome Pastor Isu Onbo. Big welcome, sir. We're still waiting for Pastor Ibube. Okay. Pastor Ibube has given us the go ahead to begin. We're going to start with some of the questions that we have on the Zoom call. Okay. All right. I'll take this first question. It says, what kind of investment is advisable as an international student? I guess this question is for Mr. Christian. What kind of investment is advisable as an international student?
I think that question is for an immigration lawyer, because I don't know if, as an international student, if you're allowed to have a business. And I think you should think towards getting in first before you start thinking about it. But running a business in Canada is not a joke. There are so many hurdles, regulatory hurdles. Even the federal government, they are just clearing so many regulatory hurdles that they have. Okay, so I don't know why an international student should be thinking that far. I think you should find out first if he or she can do that in the first place, if his status allows that. Then it's a different thing when you want to talk about.
Okay. Okay, so that question came from Patricia. The reply says, first of all, check the compliance of, as a student, getting into maybe an investment and before proceeding. I guess when Barrister Dube comes, he will help us clear that up, or if there is any.
Or if I want to advise, there are so many other, like he was talking about trade. There are so many other things that you can get certification for. And while you're working, you can develop that skills to have a side hustle. A lot of trade jobs, HVAC, tier electricians, they have a lot of opportunities there. You can create a side business from them. But to advise you to think about investment, I think it's too early for any international.
Okay, Pastor Iso.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for the response. I think that response is politically correct. Yeah. But I respectfully, I do want to disagree. The truth is, environment condition you, and if you're not careful, one of the mistakes you make in life is to actually allow your environment to condition you, because the environment was designed to contain you. You're not supposed to flourish. That's why even the highest earners struggle in economies like this. They just live, they just get by. And it's because people have conformed to the idea of structure, the idea of aligning with defined, the defined parameters. So what would I say to an international student? You should think about doing a business. You should think about running multiple businesses. Now, where my brother is coming from is ensure you're running businesses that are aligned to the laws of the land. So that's one. But beyond that, so say you have a business idea, and I'm not going to get into what type of businesses can you run, because I'm sure there are so many. You just need to look at, what are the problems around you and what are you passionate about solving. But where you're not in a position to run a business, so say you've identified a problem, you see that you actually have capacity to solve that problem, but the system would not allow you because of your status. Leverage partnership. Partnership solves all problems. If you cannot, because of your current situation, own a business, run the business, do all of those things, get somebody who has those things. Let that person become the face of the business. Now, one of the things, and this is very important, if you're going to succeed long term, you must understand the power of partnership. Partnership solves all problems. And that means that sometimes you have to be willing to be the guy behind the scene. You have to be willing to be the guy that nobody knows about. You have to be willing to be the guy that is just driving outcomes, but nobody is singing your praises. Once you get to that level, you would succeed. Because if you can't get stuff done, look at those people who can. Look at people, use them, set up the business, do the legal works and all of that. And you be the guy behind the scenes, powering the actual, the day-to-day, or the actual doing the groundwork of making that thing trust. Amen.
Wow. Thank you very much. Compliance limits you. Build a bridge through partnership. Thank you very, very much. All right, this question is for Gochi, and the question says, for someone in the medical field who still wants to get into tech, how can they get integrated with the tech industry? Someone in the medical field wants to get into tech.
That's awesome. Like I said, anyone can transition into tech. I don't know what aspect of the medical field you're in. What assume you're a nurse, for instance, and you want to transition into tech. Now, there's a tool that the hospital use. I think it's for imputing data of the patient. It's called there's one name they call it, right? It's a clinical tool that is used where you put in like customers in like the client's information, the patient information, and your doctors get to see the reports. And sometimes the patient also have access to that application where they can see their results and all of that. There are people who manages and that there's an admin for that particular application, right? So there's a part of medical science that has to do with the clinical support side, right? So as someone who has experience in the medical field, you can figure out, okay, what are the application? Let's say, for instance, you might be even in the pharmaceutical side, what are the application that the company or the healthcare uses that facilitates what they are doing, they are processing their system. There's no how like the medical field will not have like a system in place that helps them to do their day-to-day operations. So just understanding, first of all, you have the knowledge of the medical field. You can now partner with people, the admins that support the application. I don't know how that application will just left my mind. There's an application, the tool that you use for the patient, right? So the admins for that, you can kind of understand what the application does, like the end-to-end, understand how it supports the hospital and figure out how you can support it. Like what are the issues that they regularly fix or the problems that they have. So that way you don't entirely move out from the medical field, but you can move into the clinical support area of the industry. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please let's try to share these responses. This question is for Pastor Bellevue. And it says, from a hiring perspective, what immediately differentiates immigrant candidates who get interviews from those who don't, even when the skills appear to be similar?
Let that you need to apply, right? And there's a place where you definitely missing. First thing is your resume. It's not meant to give you your depends which you what you right? The purpose of resume is to get you. So from experience, what I've noticed it more often than not when people are not yet hearing back from recruiters is because the resume that they are submitting is not actually answering because you're meeting what they are looking for. So if you see two people with the same experience, or one probably has more experience, but the other one submits resume years back from the recruiter, the other one doesn't, right? Even though maybe candidate A has more experience than candidate B. So it's good to look at one, your resume. What are the key things to call out in your resume? See, sometimes some people they put a lot of stories in their resume. The thing that needs to be highlighted in your resume is not your date of birth or your age or where you are from, your origin. Is marital status. That's not what should show up. Some people will put picture on their resume. That's not what you show. What you show is experience, right? You graduated school, so that. From there to now, what are the experience now? Where have you worked? What close have you done? In that place that you work, not just mentioning where you work. What did you do there? Right? What did you do? What was the impact? If you take a look at the good resume, it has what you've done. It has the results, right? How did you go about solving problems? Because when recruiters are taking a look at resume, they have something in mind. If I want to recruit someone, there's something in mind that I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone to come and play XYZ role. So when I have a lot of resume with me, first to start with, more often than not, a lot of companies use software, right? So if there are certain things that are not mentioned in the resume, you may be qualified, but because your resume is not so, if you just screen you out, you receive unfortunately, right? Nobody, sometimes you just apply, the next month you receive unfortunately, and nobody have actually seen it. The system has actually just screened you out before anything, right? But let's assume you were able to get through the system. Now, the person, the human being actually verified to say, okay, let me start interviewing this person, right? What they see is they are looking for certain experiences. But if you have those experiences and you don't call it out in your resume, maybe applying now, you're not getting back. Another thing is, I think Pastor Jose mentioned something similar, partnerships. Referrals helped a lot. right? I had a friend that was applying for the organization I work for. He applied a couple of times, and then he reached out to me, said, "Oh, I'm applying for this job. Can you help me?" I sent him the referral. That same day, they reached out to him. Right? In that case, when they sent resume, they said, this guy is a great candidate. Why have you not reached out to him? The system already screened him out before, so you don't even get to the recruiting officer. Right? So the purpose of your resume is to get an interview. If you're not hearing back, you're not getting any interview, more often than not, there's something off in the resume that you have, and that is the reason, right? It could not even be a skill issue. You're not surfacing the right skill on your resume, you're not surfacing the right experience, and that could actually affect you.
Wow, okay, I see. I think we should go ahead.
So add, so in your resume, apart from showing your technical side, you should also show your soft side, communication. How did you help your team members, right? So it's not just I know how to do X, Y, and Z, but how you helped your team members to resolve issues and how you helped your line manager, right? So they want to know that apart from technical side, you have a personal side that you can relate with your fellow team member, they are able to work with you. So it's actually very important to add that as well.
Thank you so much. So we just want to take a question from the audience. It says, and this is.
Sorry, can I add something
Yeah,
to
of
the
course.
resume? Because I think this is a very important question, right? Because most people's problem, to Belvy's point, Pastor Belvy's point, starts and ends with the resume. Because the resume never gets to the intended source. So some of the things that he said very important. The one thing that I also ask people when they ask me to review their resumes is I always ask people, what is the soul? Right? Focus on outcomes. Sometimes in trying to ensure that your resume doesn't get scanned out, scanned by, rejected by the scanning, algorithm. Some people just replicate the job description in their resume. But that's not how to prepare a resume. A resume should be focused on outcomes. Whatever you've done, what did it lead to? If you did X, Y, Z, say I came into this place to facilitate this session, so what? What was the outcome? I facilitated this session and that led to 5 people getting meaningful jobs. I facilitated an immigration enlightenment session and that led to 6 people getting their PR. That's the outcome. So always focus on the outcome. Find a way to turn the job descriptions or your responsibilities, not job description, the responsibilities to actually touch on outcomes. I did X, Y, Z, and that led to a 70% or 10% increase in, WZ. So find a way to always do that, and you're more likely to get interviews. Thank you.
That's awesome. Results, very, very key. What is the result of what you did? And that would always catch the eye of the person reviewing your resume. But someone have a question here and they just need an advice, and I will pose this question to you, Gochi. They said that they don't necessarily want to transition into tech, but they want to be able to apply the tech skills in their field of practice. So as a nutritionist, they want to offer consultancy services, and they know that they have those skills that they can do a lot, but how do they really apply the tech skills? And what would be the advice? Okay, that's interesting. As someone who helps people to maybe lose weight or live a healthy lifestyle, you can build a software application for that. An application that kind of help people to monitor their weight loss. Maybe get information as to how they are doing with their journey. An application that is more like analytical. So you can build an application that kind of help people to lose weight. So when they go, a one-stop shop where they can get their meal plan from, they can see how they are doing, in their weight loss journey. They can book a consultation with you and all of that. So you can,
it's easy to build an app right now with lovable.dev and other like tech tools. You can spin up such application in minutes, right? So you can, if you're very hands-on with that, you can build a software just for fun. You can build a software application that helps people, that people can log in and see how they are doing with their lifestyle, for instance.
Thank you. That makes sense, because in doing that is like building the tech skills as well. That would help. And is awesome.
I'm sorry that I keep adding to all the answers. I just want to be sure that people are getting, good value. So there are other things that I find that sometimes in a bid to help people, we sometimes limit their options. So I've been hearing people talk about tech, as if tech is the new gold mine. Yeah, I can tell you it may be at least top of my head, maybe 20 things that pay way better than tech. That are less, because everybody is different. Your aptitude for learning, for everything, everybody is different. But anyways, going to this same question, if you're a nutritionist and you're looking to expand your brand, because ultimately what you're interested in is making money, why don't you start a YouTube channel or something and start giving nutritional advice for free? Focus on building credibility. Let people know you. Become a niche. Just build a niche around what you do. Maybe it's talking about the health benefits or the disadvantages of some of the things we eat. Help people learn how to, lose weight. There are problems that people have, genuinely. Help people learn how to lose weight, the kind of food to eat to lose weight. A ton of people who are making thousands of dollars every month just talking about these things. So you don't have to be the next tech nutritionist. You just have to be a nutritionist that is adding value to people. And what you need is to understand what are people's problems. People have it, so you understand food. If I actually see a nutritionist, I'm going to engage them because I'm trying to lose weight and I don't know the right things to eat. All right. So if you start adding value, just focus on adding value. It may be something as basic as a 5-minute video every week that you're committed to, and you're doing that. Before you know it, you build traction, you build a community. Once you build a community, you can start monetizing things. When you now create an app, if you have 1 million followers and you create an app, maybe 300,000 out of that 1 million will subscribe to your app. But if you go from day zero, you're creating an app, how you haven't built any credibility, right? So start from your Jerusalem, the things that are within your immediate circle of influence, and progressively and iteratively increment value. That's how you build anything. Hallelujah.
That's so good. I just want to add this. That's very interesting. So in regards to building the app, you can just do something simple. I think I've seen a lot of app where like maybe you just want to, as the person said, they have some technical skills. So it doesn't hurt if you just build something simple. I saw an app that asks me some question. What's your weight? What's your height? What's your sleeping pattern? Just that questionnaire. Like, then at the end of the day, they'll tell you, okay, your report has been sent to your email, and then you can book a consultation. Something simple, like there's AI too you can use to get more information. So if you want to, maybe like Pastor said, you can start with that so that will grow your network. Then if you want to add tech into it, you can start with as little as that, just to enhance your business. Thank you.
That is so good, because building what you was saying about online presence is very important, and that's what is you have to. People want to see what are you about, what is the value. Reminded me of what Pastor Belvi said about build to learn. In doing that, you're even learning more about yourself, and then you are adding value as well. So when you bring out that thing, they're like, okay, you've been consistent with this. I can support that, right? And it can be very simple. Sometimes I feel like we don't realize how simple these things are by starting to do the very thing we can do, but God will help us. Amen. So I have a question for Pastor Izu actually about mindset shift. You talked a lot about, newcomers when they come into town, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that hold
them from progressing, right? So the question I have really is, what must immigrants do? What do you think that could really set someone up as a new immigrant coming into this country with a bright future? But, people that have been here for a while want to impose their own journey on them. How can you really balance that mindset shift? What can they really do to set them up for success?
That's a very important question, and one that I don't know that I have the answer to. I just know that I know what the right answer should be, but how you get to that answer, I don't know. The one thing that I've understood about life is that more than anything, association plays a major role in how you turn out in any area of life. Show me somebody's friend, I'll tell you how they will turn out. It's almost a predictable pattern that if you see someone hanging around a certain network, it is said that you're the average of the 5 closest people, to you. Meaning that if I look at the 5 people around you that are closest to you, you're their average, you can't beat the performance. Now with new immigrants, it's a bit difficult because you're just coming to the country. You don't even have the network to start with. Like you don't know people. So you're basically kind of stuck with the people around you. It is going to take time, effort to build the kind of relationship you would want. That's if you want to actually. So the first answer obviously is having an end in mind, understanding what it is you want to do is important. But with respect to building networks, as a new immigrant, that's tough, really. I seriously don't know how you build that. Because you don't even know the people you want to meet. I can say I want to meet Fortune 500 CEOs. Where am I going to meet them? Am I going to meet them in the class? So there's a lot of deliberateness that now has to that has to be baked into that process. So that's kind of why I say I don't have the answer. What I know is you need to know who you want to be like. And if you know who you want to be like, you can start looking for them wherever they're.
Actually, this question was one of the things that I wanted to address. When I came in here, people keep telling me it takes 2 years, then it gets easier. I keep asking myself, why should it take 2 years? I initially came, I said, I don't want to work. I had businesses. I don't want to come here and enter the system because that's one of the first things I would advise that kind of person to do. Understand this system. If you don't understand this system, forget what anybody tells you. Your journey is different. I went to a medical doctor that told me, hey, I have one of my friends that came here, he drove cab for 7 years, had to go back. Okay. And I'm 6 months into my stay, somebody was like, how are you able to get this kind of job? That means in 2 years, you'll be like prime minister or something like that. So people's journeys are different. But if you understand this system, one of the first thing I realized here is that if you don't have knowledge, the system takes advantage of you. From your taxes to insurance to everything that you do. So if you understand the system, now start looking at how you can take advantage of the system to your own benefit. The first thing that you realize in North America, it's not like I'm not supporting a person that wants to go into business. Is that actually business people this system is set up for business people, not for working class. It's not set up for working class. It's a mindset that came from the Rockefellers, a society of workers, not thinkers. So you need to understand that this is what you're coming into and always look at all the gray lines that you can learn from and then come out of it. You have to pay the price. I tell my friends, you have to come and serve your 10. And then you will understand how to, beat that system to your own advantage. I don't know if that helps, but the person needs to understand the system.
Well, that's definitely a major mindset those there. And then another question for you, Mr. Christian, this is saying, now how then can newcomers identify and seize business opportunities in Canada, even with limiting, financial and networking resources?
Like I said before, there are many things that you need to know. For example, as a licensed insurance agent, I know you are working for yourself. And after a while, all your clients that you get, they are vested to you. So if you stop working, it depends on the company. Some do 5 years, 10 years. Those clients pay you for life. That's once they are renewing their listing, you're getting something back. I don't know for real estate, but I know for insurance. And there are so many other things. I have a tech come to my house and did a job that he was supposed to take the whole day. And in 3 hours, he was done. And guess what? He picked up another job that wasn't related to the job that brought him to my house. And said, please don't tell them that I've left your house. Okay? So there are so many certifications that will help you run a parallel business that are very successful. For example, I heard a TCC driver earns close to 100,000 every year. But the person that has a business mindset will think, who owns the TCC box? Is it a franchise? Can I get into that game and have my own boss while I'm driving? So you are earning salary and also making money for having a franchise. And CDS also, there are people that drive truck that can own their truck even in that fleet. So you get paid twice, okay? So there are many things. The system supports business. You just need to understand the system. If you want to work, good luck. 30 years, and the funny thing is that my first job, I was going into homes, I was asking a lot of people questions. Beautiful house. They want to sell it after they are retired. Why? Because you can't save enough. But you can always, when you own a business, there are so many things that you can benefit. You can write off 3 years taxes for business. You can go back to 2022 and write off your taxes if you own a business, if you know how the system works. So those are the things that I think that such person, first of all, get into the line of work or business that you can also own, and then learn the system to also, use it to your own advantage.
Wow. It seems that we may need to have a special believers business summit, just business summit, let us just talk business. And in that particular business, it is going to be forbidden to discuss anything resume. Just put resume aside and we just talk about business. What did Brother Christian just say? Rockefeller. I don't know what that Rockefeller means, but whenever I hear Rockefeller again, what I'm going to hear is that it is not about workers.
They say he didn't say it. They will tell you he didn't say it, but after the Great Depression, they don't want a system of thinkers, they want a system of workers. The school system is designed because of that. Your employment system is designed because of that. The tax system is designed because of that. The US government, for example, they can print any money they want. Why are they still collecting tax from you? It's a deeper question that you need to ask. Government can print their money. Why do they need your money to do the job? They'll tell you all the inflationary, whatever. But it's also control. It's to keep you, like he said, within a box. The more you work here, the more they take from you. Why? You have to keep asking those questions. Why? I was telling Pastor Belfi, I bought back my time because I started doing very well when I was working. The more I was doing, the more they were giving me tax. I was complaining, I'm tired. I need to rest. No, you're our best salesperson and so until I broke down. And when I broke down for 3 weeks, I wasn't going to work. There wasn't a single call to me. How are you doing? Not a single call. So I understand the system. I knew before I came, I lived it, and I understood it better. And I decided that it's better for me to have my time than to give it to somebody else.
Wow. If somebody is going to buy your time, that means your time is valuable. Are you sure you're not short selling it? We really should have that business summit. Yeah, I think Favor has a question.
Christian, if someone wanted to connect with you, how can they reach you?
Try.
Social media. Oh, Thrive. Okay, they just message. Okay.
So if you want to connect with Brother Christian, you do that through Thrive so that you don't just arrive. Okay. A question for Pastor Bellevue. I'm sorry, this question is going towards career resume, but it's looking like that part has been demarketed. But let's just answer the question. It said, what does a strong LinkedIn profile look like for an immigrant tech professional trying to attract, recruiters in Canada that does not make the person a thinker but a worker?
First thing first, link to resume is both important to both someone that's looking for a job and an entrepreneur, right?
Okay, yeah.
Exactly, because if prospective investor is taking a look at your profile, to your LinkedIn, they want to see your record. So, thing is, when you think about social media, different social media platforms as their two. You go on Twitter, there's something you expect, right? Instagram, when you go there is level of expectation. LinkedIn is the professional space. When you go there, what you expect is things that are professional. So when someone comes to your LinkedIn profile, you see your experience. I don't know, maybe I could have shown an example. I was doing a section with someone recently, and I showed the person two different LinkedIn profile of a product manager, right? Favor was a product manager, and you could tell the difference, right? Say if two people are applying for a job, and both of them you go to their LinkedIn profile. If I don't know if you can share this screen. If I think one, I can tell you maybe one of my PM that I work with, and if you take a look at his profile, you see what he has worked on. I worked on this, and he talked in terms of numbers, metrics, right? I worked on this. This trajectory was going minus 10% year out of year, but after I led this project, I implemented side trending upwards. I did this to bring in substantial revenue. That he's not just talking about what he did, like what Pastor has already mentioned. They're talking about impact. They are talking about outcome, right? It's there. And so sometimes you see people working for 3 years. That resume, the only thing that has shown on your LinkedIn is you started this trade, but 2 years has passed. You've not updated to show what exactly you are doing there, right? Because when you apply for a role and they are taking a look at your profile, you go, they check you out. You see, what is this person doing? I think that is the thing that's very important. Another thing is referrals, like I mentioned. LinkedIn has the structure of referrals. People you work with can come there. Sorry, and refer you. I say, I work with XYZ on this project. Take my number. There was a time a couple of years ago, I think it was 2020 or so, when Andela did layoff. They did a massive layoff. What happened was after that layoff, they wanted to place everybody that was laid off into different companies. But part of the thing they did was they made sure all of those people that were laid off, they wrote referrals, they commented on their LinkedIn profile. You get it? They say, you go to this person, go and drop a recommendation. So if you go to a couple of them, you go to their resume, you see recommendation from fellow, right? And what it does is when they actually apply for a role, you take a look at this person's profile, you see what this person has done, you start reading that, you see the educational background, and then you start seeing recommendation. You see recommendation from 3, 4, 5. It means that this person is actually a credible person to work. I don't think that makes sense.
Thank you so much. And still on resume, I want to pose this question to Buchi, because I know that you mentioned that if you're transitioning to tech, ensure that you get hands-on experience, right? A lot of the people transitioning into tech, what I've seen is a lot of people just connote a lot of stories on their resume, like, don't do it. But how do you really get that hands-on experience that would then help you get the job and build that confidence that you need to actually do the job as well, right? I mean, most jobs you learn on the job, but for someone transitioning, most people just do the courses and they just put on their resume that they have this number of experience and they get in the job and they obviously fight to build the confidence. But just prior to doing any tech job, how do you really build that hands-on experience with someone that is new to that space?
Thanks for the question. There are several ways one can build that experience. One of the ways that you can build is to learn through project based. So it's not just you learning theory, but it's project based. Literally, you're learning for each step. You're getting knowledge and you're getting hands-on experience. There are several platforms that you can get that project based learning. Udemy there are some good like for AWS you have Stephen. They do all project-based teaching. I think most teachers now they try to give you that project-based learning where you get hands-on experience, and then as you're learning, you're doing it starts from entry-level simple projects to like difficult projects. There's a platform called Code Cloud. Code Cloud is a very good platform for those who want to transition into DevOps cloud. The platform is so beautiful because you have like playgrounds. Like, let me say, for instance, we cannot afford to subscribe for AWS, right? Pay for their subscription. The platform gives you that like different playgrounds for Google. Maybe you want to just try AWS this month and see how it is on GCP, Google, or Azure. It gives you sandboxes like where you can just put that experience there, and then you have like the feedback, like questions, and then also apart from the learning platform, they also have. I'm selling this for them. They're not paying me, but they also have the engineer, like a platform where you act as a cloud engineer, like you're going to work for like a virtual company, not a real company, and every day they're giving you tasks to do. They're telling you, okay, today this company, we're having issue, you are a cloud engineer for this role, so do this and that, and then you're just building that experience, and you can put that on your CV as well. Apart from this platform, like the technologies like AWS, Google, they all have like good documentation, and they have like tasks that they give, like projects you can do on the AWS white. I think it's white label, and the documentation they have like projects, simple projects that you can go there and do for yourself. So
thank you so much. This is a lot of information that is not out there, right? Like you said, finding ways you can, even if you don't have it now, find a way to build, because I didn't even know all of this, that you can get hands-on experience and build those skills. But most people just transfer almost what they've done before and just call it, oh, this is what I've done, which is not quite true. But thank you so much for that. I hope everyone is taking notes. Does anyone have any question here in the audience? Just something pressing in the mind, anyone? Oh, okay, sure. Roy.
It's good. I wanted to talk more about tech sales.
awesome. So tech sales, these ones, they have money. So let's say you want to transition into tech sales. That's a question, like tech sales, if you want to transition into it, right?
Yeah, I'm in health.
You're in health.
So can I relate that
with tech sales?
Yeah.
Of course. So basically, if you want to transition into tech sales in health, like I said, there are platforms or applications that the healthcare system use. I don't know why it's in my head. I don't want to Google it, but they use it for like helping clients, right? For their medication, for their history and all of that. And there are a lot of clinical health support people that go about training. So they go about training hospitals on how to use. It's called Epic, right? It's called Epic. So Epic is like a healthcare application that most healthcare like organizations use, right? So let's say, for instance, you want to be in tech sales. You can be someone who can sell Epic to hospitals, or maybe such applications. Maybe you know it so well, you know the back end, maybe you know the like technical side of it, how it was built, you know, the use cases, the features, how important that, like, you sell it to the hospital that, see, like, I know you use so application, but this one does XYZ that is better than this application. So you knowing the application, being the subject matter expert for Epic, for instance, you can sell it, you know, and then you have to, of course, have that communication skills, like being able to persuasive, like to persuade like people to buy in, or like the boards, or the board of directors, or people who are in charge of those the organization to buy in, right? So basically, let's say if you are missing the part of the technical side, right? All you need to do is to just have a roadmap on how you can understand the technical side. You don't need to know too deep, right? You just need to know enough of the features, know enough of what it does, know enough of what the complaints are, like what is the issues that they usually have with this application, so that when the client asks that kind of question, you're able to say, okay, like this is how you're able to resolve it. Because tech salespeople, they work with salespeople. So no, there are salespeople and there's tech sales. You're the one that will do the technical presentation on behalf of those the business people who don't know the technical part. So you need to know the architecture, what features speak to which features, and just the back end literally, right? So I hope this helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm a salesperson. Do you like sales?
Yeah.
If you do like sales, when they talk sometimes, I'm a very tech illiterate and I don't intend to, you know, sorry, with all due respect, but if you like sales, that's all you need. It's just the same, the way somebody will tell you about a product features. What does a car have? What do you need to know to sell a car to somebody? In sales, it's you that is the most important person. The confidence, the personality that you exude when you enter into. If you love sales, you can learn any technical thing. It's your deployment that is more important, because sales is very important for every industry, tech, whatever you want to name. My first job, I don't know anything about HVAC. I sold my first lead, I sold it. It was when I knew what I was talking about, after I understood the product, I knew I talked rubbish all through this, but I sold it. I sold my first lead talking rubbish, but I was talking rubbish with confidence. Okay. So if you train yourself, go that extra to learn the product, okay, and become an expert, okay, I think that you would. Sales is key. If you get that person, if you have that personality, the technical side can be easy.
Thank you.
I just want to add something to, what both of you have said. Very, very important. And the only reason I'm adding this is because, you've been talking about the medical CRM tool, or patient management tool. And he's a nurse, or he's in nursing. So if you're looking to move to tech sale in the medical side, something that is also very important is always learn to assess the opportunities within an area before you make a career decision. What does that mean? If you're looking to move into something, actually look at what are the opportunities within this area. So if I'm going to be a medical salesperson, tech sales or whatever, I really want to look at the population of opportunities within that space. In this climb, how many hospitals do you have? How many softwares do those hospitals use?
Yeah.
you know, so maybe they each use the same software or they use different softwares.
They mostly use the same.
Okay, but let's even assume for the benefit of this argument, for the purpose of the argument, let's assume they use different softwares. So meaning that you have different opportunities within those spaces. Or let's say they use the same. How many can you sell to? Do they already use that software? If they do, you know, what are the chances that how many tech sales job are within the medical space? So again, I'm not saying that there are many or there are not. I'm just saying those are questions that are important to ask so that it helps you gauge what is your opportunity within this space. Maybe it is not tech, maybe it's not medical space you need to say, maybe it's pharmaceutical because you have more pharmaceutical companies ahead. But those kind of assessments are important.
Okay, I have a question. Basically, all three of you can answer the question. So, in the tech space, I just got into college. I just finished my first semester in computer systems networking. I'm very curious to know what steps exactly do I have to take to make sure I don't fall into the trap of AI replacing. I mean, I know, of course, that doesn't just happen once, right? But because I'm more into the data side, I'm not so much of a programmer. I'm into SQL, Cisco, and all that stuff. So I just wanted to know what exactly can I do that is going to set me apart to avoid AI replacement, because I've seen AI kind of can do a lot. They can do quite a reasonable amount of configuration, good codes, and also like some nice queries for database. So I just wanted to know like where exactly can someone who's new to the space to avoid just being a normal person that can easily be replaced by software.
Okay. So, AI is booming, it's taking over a lot of jobs. That there are some jobs that AI can take over, and these are jobs that has to do with client management, right? Managing people, working with stakeholders, key stakeholders, right? Because you're gonna like dealing with people who have different emotions, who have different issues which are not that are unique, right? They're not the same. It's very important to like when as you're starting your career, your colleague, just make sure that you're focused on like data engineer, right? You're focused on like doing things that have to do with like people, like you're relating with people, client management, right? AI can do the technical stuff, no, but when it comes to like deep human thinking, emotions, and communication, right? I know that AI is learning to be like human beings, but it's going to take a long time for them to be like human beings. So roles that enables you to work with people, do you understand, resolve their issues, like, it's actually roles that cannot be easily taken over by AI.
Okay, thanks so much. Let me just ask something. The first thing to keep in mind is this time over here is a multiplier. You see the way tech is an enabler. AI is a multiplier. What do I mean by multiplier? You are able to do more because you have access to it, right? Primarily, I would not see from two that it's started to replace you. To replace you if you don't know what you're doing, right? But for those that know what it's like, really suffer to the ocean. If you ride the wave, you don't sink, you go with it. So I'll give you an example. A software engineer also building a tech startup as the chief technological officer in that startup, who to do more and play in more areas because of AI, right? So for instance, we're having a scaling issue. Usually I'll be looking for, let me quickly go and hire maybe a DevOps engineer to come out, join and start. But by us going online, going on ChatGPT, asking questions, oh, this is the interesting thing is, I'll give you an example. One day we woke up and realized that the particular service was down. Nobody touched it. And there's an error was showing, and I was completely lost. So I just copied the error. Yeah, posted it like CCC was going on. They said, okay, go to SYZ, go and do this, go and check that. I went there, I started chatting, debugging, and I fixed it, right? Usually, a couple of years ago, that probably take 2-3 days, right? But in less than an hour, I was able to resolve this issue. See, the multiplier, if you go online, you also see people, a lot of like startup using AI to build tools. Yeah, it's really fast. Back again to being a thinker, right? If you are a creator, you will benefit way more from using AI, right? That's how you should see it, right? You need to be someone that something, be on the side that actually use it. So you have an idea. Usually a couple of years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, if you have an idea, you start looking for software engineers to test something out, right? But recently, I know my wife is still tech savvy. She had an idea, something to do. Without contacting any software engineer, she went to Lovable and a couple of these AI too. Before you knew it, a website was up from scratch, logo, everything. And then you start testing it, start putting in the idea. If it works, you now go to the next level. If it doesn't work, okay, let's move to something else, right? But it's a multiplier effect. That's how you should see it. It gives you the ability to do more really short time compared to when you don't have it. So some people will see that as a tool that will replace them. So other people will see it as something that they use to get to the next level and try the idea really fast. So you just need to decide where you need to be.
Actually, you need it because as a data person, you need AI because AI is all about machine learning. So you use data to feed. So you actually need to like use it as a tool, like you said, to enhance what you're doing.
I think no matter what happens in the tech space, human interaction is still going to be forever. Okay? You talking to me talking to you, there is nothing that can replace it. That's why I still think sales is the best way to go. Because AI, they might be able to sell, but if you're trying to sell and you're reading emotions, AI will not be able to do that. Whether that person is distressed while you're talking, whether the person is not interested while you're talking, you're able to do that. So human interaction is very important. So I think as you're developing, you should also inculcate that. Okay, in your networks, how do you build, more sociable kind of personality?
Okay. Just to comment on what you said. Many of you have called customer care and they tell you, oh, to search with AI. The next thing, like, I want to talk to human beings. So that my interaction gets humans. Even though I can sometimes answer a question, I want to talk to you. I want to know that the person is feeling my pain and the other side. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is so good. And to wrap it up, I would just ask Bro Christian another question around settlement, right? Because newcomers come into the country, there's a lot of, mistakes or just being able to understand how to integrate into the country. What would you say, maybe your top 3, if someone is coming into the new country, maybe as an international student, as a worker, or anyhow, what advice would you give? And anyone can also answer this. What helped you? What do you think is good for them to set them up for success?
As you mentioned it, for those that are listening, he said it business side. He said try how do you synergize with? I use synergy in my own notes that I wrote. Okay, and work with people, even if you are not qualified to do your business. I'll give you an example. I like life story. I met a guy during my sales business. Couldn't even speak English. And he had 3 houses. So I was asking him how? And he said, when we came, we were 4 together, 1 house in Scarborough, we're all living in it. Okay. And we're paying the mortgage. The house as they are paying the mortgage, the house is appreciating. They are also having a lot of money on the side because they are not paying a huge amount of money. They bought the second one. At some point, they sold the first one because it has appreciated in value and they shared, and that was how it got into the rest. So that's one thing I don't think we do enough of. If you look at Canada, I think it's segmented. If you go to Vaughan, Italian people control Vaughan. You go to Markham, it's Chinese. You go to Brampton, it's Indian. Mississauga, India. Okay. We need to, for a newcomer, find your community. 2, 3 of you have a good credit, understand the system, it's still part of the system. It's rigged against you where you're coming in because, like you said, you've not been here, so you don't have the social capital. You don't have referrals. You don't know where to go. But when you niche with people like you, and you guys have a set goal, and you're able to work together, understanding that you need to keep a good credit, you need to do X, Y, Z, I think can easily come out of that pit hole that you come into when you are a newcomer, because the entire system, I wanted to buy a car, you don't have credit. What's your credit score? I'm new, I don't have credit score. You have to get somebody to sign for you or you pay. The entire thing is against you. So when you work with people, you're able to scale out faster. Hope that.
Okay, thank you. It's still on the same point. I wanted us to maybe go around with the mic with everybody on settlement as newcomers.
Yes, let me, I was gonna answer that. Thank you, sir, for the tips. If I were to advise newcomers, really, I think one of the areas that I've seen where people fail is not taking our time to understand the system. And he spoke about that a while ago. There's something about understanding the system, understanding that the West is built differently. Because if you don't understand that, the chances that you would go off rail are very high. So I'll give you an instance. I came in here 7 years ago, and when I came with everybody in my office. We all came together, same time, we all left, everybody, like 20 people working in the same building, same organization, same group. We just decided to leave same time. So we left and we came to Canada. And I think 2 months into the country, some of us had already started buying brand new cars. And I remember I had actually gone to Toyota, and I don't know what it is these days, but then you just go into a store, you don't need money, 0 down payment, you can walk out with a car. So I'd gone into Toyota, looked at them, so it was 2018. So I looked at the 2019 Corolla Sport Edition, very sharp, and they took my driver's license and then told me to come back. So back then, you know how you can build your car? You select the color, so I did all of that. As I went home, I was supposed to come pick up the car maybe like a week or 2 weeks later. I'm not sure, I can't remember now. And when I got home, I told my wife, I said, at least for the first time, let's drive a brand new car. Because all the cars we're driving in Nigeria were not brand new. And then, the week that I was going to pick that car, it was just by the mercy of God, God, I just heard, it was almost like a rebuke that, is this how you want to start your life in a new country? I was doing a customer service job. And so when they were calling me to come pick up, a financial situation had changed that I wasn't coming, that I couldn't come anymore. But I say that to say that there is nothing that is free. That same analogy, you can extrapolate it to credit cards, to anything. Who rack up credit card debts, and it's so easy to spend. You know why? The psychology of the credit card is built that way. When you're tapping, that's why until tomorrow I don't have, no matter the level of advancement in technology, I'll never have tap, all those tap stops. They are not on my phone. I don't have tap. I need to, at least now I'm still struggling I need to be able to see the card. I even see that I'm tapping it because they've made it so easy for you. You tap through your phone, everything. You're not understanding that it is money. Let me tell you something. You can try this. It is way easier to spend $5,000 on your credit card than it is to spend $500 on your debit card. When you're spending 5,000 on your credit card, you just feel like it's not money, it's not your money. Be inside. If you're using your debit card, you will rationalize that decision over and over and over again. Because you know why? That money is leaving you real time. You're feeling the impact real time. So it will make you really rationalize that decision. So I tell people, understand that the system, the credit is not free. So they give you 5,000 and you've spent that 5,000. Guess what? The reward for spending the 5,000 is that they give you another 5,000. They increase the limit. You think you're smart. No, the system is built to cage you. It's a Babylonian system. It is designed to enslave you. So they give you another 5,000. It's now 10,000 credit limit. Before you know it again, you've spent up to 9,000 out of the 10,000. And then they send you your bills. They say, don't worry, just pay the minimum. Minimum is $50. Just pay $50. You can owe $9,000. They are not bothered. No, they know what they are doing. You know why? Over the course of maybe 5 years, if you actually sit down to check, the interest you've paid on that 9,000 would be maybe like 5 times the amount. The system was designed to cage you, to cage people. And you have to understand that system. That's why the thing he said about business, everybody, and that's my personal recommendation, any human being that is living in the West should have at least one business at a minimum.
Even if you don't have partner with somebody, not all of us is going to run a business. Try and get involved in another business. Even
yeah, and when I say business, it doesn't mean you're doing anything fancy. It might just be registering I don't know, like think about the most basic thing you can do. Maybe you cook food. Occasionally you cook food for people. Even if it's one plate you give to people, register a cooking business or whatever it is. Because you know why? When it comes to making money, there are basically two school of thought. There is the worker and there is the business owner. The business owner, the one thing that is constant between both of them is taxes. Both pay taxes, but how they pay taxes are different. A business owner is taxed after spending everything. A business owner is only taxed on what is left after expenditures. So even if I make $1 million, if I spend $950,000, the only thing they will tax me on is $50,000. But guess what? The worker is taxed before spending anything. Before he ever touches to cover up that money, a dime is already taxed. So there are two paradigms. So you need to understand that paradigm as well and be able to effectively take advantage of the system. So if you understand that credit is not free, understand that, taxes is as sure as death, you will find a way to maximize it.
also for somebody that maybe might not want to register a business name or something, get an HST number. You have an HST number, 13% first doesn't go on your tab anymore. Or if you're working and you have an HST number, they don't deduct nothing from you, especially when you're working as an independent contractor or you're working from home, remote. Get an HST number. Tell your employer you have an HST number. You will not deduct anything. You get to do your deduction and submit to CRA. Again, you need to understand the system.
Thank you very much. I will also say, you're talking about business. One of the ways you also partner and invest, partner with others in businesses by investing in stock. Right. So for instance, I don't need to cook, but I can partner with him by buying stuff from out. Right. So I see some people, immigrants, spend your money, you save, it's just sitting in the bank. Learn to invest. All right. That's how you actually invest in other people. You can do that by stock or get financial advice. So I have this money, I want to put it in the market. They will do your risk analysis. So remember when I really came to Canada 2020, colleague of mine told me about this, he was teaching me about it. The only regret I have there is that I didn't put so much money. Because the amount I put in buying, 3 of those stocks, over 1,000% in like 4 years, no joke. So then one he said, funny because then it was like he puts 100% of his money into Tesla stock. I will tell you, Tesla is my retirement plan. I'm not saying you should do it. But he was always putting his money. Me, I was holding back because I was seeing then I put some of my money. But a lot of the investment I did then has a lot of increase. So also learn to invest. For me, what the advice I have for immigrants, I think everybody should know this. For me, join a right community. Find a good community to join. So for instance, you see everybody here sharing with you, belong to one community. Right? And there is something that it does to you. If you join a community of people of like minds, like when I came 2020, I think was it that year, sir, that you bought your first property. And I think he was telling me that, I bought it, I tend to pay it off within a few years, I'm another one. When you hear something like that, there is possibility that it creates your mind that is possible.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself you are not in a community where people are sharing ways, people believe that they can reign and have dominion in Canada, you just be at your level still doing sorry, not to talk than any job, maybe doing menial jobs left, right, and center. 2, 3, 4 years passes. But people are coming in and they are doing well because of the power of community. What you hear in that, for me, that community was the university. When I joined, right? I see people, people of like minds, they are striving, they are pushing, this is what we want to attain. And you actually see those progression in their life. And then it's also possible, right? Because there's something about fire. If you hang around, it used to be also catch fire, right? So for me, what I would say is find a good community to join and thrive. The university is a wonderful community. It's a church, but we're also a community of believers and lovers that you can join. What to talk about here, it's not just spiritual side. As you can see, we are having a summit, international student and newcomer summit. How will people succeed? If you are not part of a community like this, 2, 3 years past, you don't hear anything like this in Canada. You don't know about maybe even saving for your first store and all of that, right? So for me, it's finding that community and joining. Thank you.
Also want to add that you should ask questions as newcomer. Like you don't want to do things based on assumption. Pastor Ibu was talking about people who made mistake in their application, like immigration application. You don't want to just do things based on assumption or what you feel like. Ask questions. People who have gone through that same journey, you just ask them, okay, what step? Maybe they had made the mistakes already and they will then tell you, oh, this is what I did, right? So don't make assumption, ask questions, don't be shy. And also just remain focused. Okay, don't get distracted with the latest car. don't get distracted with the latest car. Don't get distracted with, what's happening. Just eyes on the prize, and trust God and believe God. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone there's Tiku. Wanted to mention something. Possible as well. Come on. On tips for settling in Canada as a newcomer and all.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to be talking up from experience and mostly geared towards families. So for families that have young children, I think one of the huge shock for us when we came and started having kids was the childcare wait list. So a lot of families come in and they have young children and they don't know like this fact that wait list can be 2, 3 years long. So I always joke and I tell my friends, even before you have an idea of having a child, go and put that child on the wait list for like a daycare or an early learning center so that you can guarantee yourself space. And then speaking about the childcare system, talking about schools, it's also a shock for some people that come out from outside and they come into the country and they see that the education system is quite different from what they have back home. Here, parental involvement is it's very key. From my own experience back home, you have like teachers being very involved in your kids' life, helping to potty train your child, helping to do like some other big, like very key things in your child's life. But over here, the reverse is the case. If you're not at the helm of affairs, you will see that by the time your child is starting school, they're already lagging behind. And you need to advocate for your child's interest very, very much. Like speak up for your child, speak up for them, very, very key. So parental involvement in the childcare is very key. And then we've also talked about leaning on your community, very important. I also wanted to mention for seasonal expenses, buying winter gear is very, very expensive. Like, and if you have growing children, you're always like every year you're buying, you're buying snow boots, you're buying hats, you're buying jackets. And one jacket can easily cost 40 something to $50. You can be buying that every year. So me, what I do, I size up. I buy the one that my child is swimming inside, and then we hem it and we fold it and they're growing into it. And also I look for off-season sales and clearance. So like towards the end of winter, as winter is phasing off, you see a lot of these winter they go into clearance and sales. That's a good time to go to stores, look out for those clearance sales and stock up on those items for the next season. The same thing with summer. At the end of summer, you see all those summer where they go all on clearance, go and charter them, go and buy them and stock up for your child for the next year. My child's wardrobe that I have 4-year-old clothes, 5-year-old clothes, and it's too big for them. But when they get to that age, they'll be able to wear it. And I got them at very, very cheap rates. And then another thing, I fell into this trap when I first came. Buying kids' clothes, I was going to Zara or Old Navy. I was going to all the high stores, and then my child would go to school and do painting or eat and come back with a stain, and the shirt is done like $20, $30 down the drain. I discovered thrift shops. Thrift shops are very, very good. So people have the mentality that I can't wear second hand. I can't wear something that someone else has really worn. But it's a good way to save money, especially if your child is still growing and they mess up themselves very easily. Go to thrift stores, buy shirts for $2, $3, $5. That can be their everyday wear. And then you have those finer clothes for outings, Sunday wear. That's has really saved us a lot of bucks. If they come back from school and they spilled something that is not going out, I'm not upset because I bought it for $2 and I can easily just throw it away. So shopping smart is really, really important. And then understanding, we've talked about the system a lot, understanding things like the Canada Child Benefit and how to leverage it and how to max out the returns that you get from the government, opening up an RSP account early, that even small contributions can grow significantly over time. And then there's something else that some people don't keep in mind. Encourage your child to branch out, even yourself. Find new hobbies, enroll them in sports, extracurricular activities, music, because all those things play a role at the end when they're trying to go into college or university. Universities over here, they don't just look at academic or records, they look at the whole child, what the child did extracurricularly. If they were enrolled in sports, they had music, if they were doing volunteer work. So start early to start putting your child in those things. It might cost money, but it's a very good it pays off in the long run. And the last thing I want to end with is something that I learned from experience, to be prepared for emergencies. There was a day at home, we had blackouts. And once there's blackouts, that's everything stalls. Your stove, if you have an electric stove, is not working any longer. Your heat is off. Everything is literally off. Nothing is working again. And then that's what I remember, like, you have to be prepared for emergencies. So stock up on survival kits at home, especially if you have young children. Have water, have food, so that in the event of a blackout, you guys are not stranded. Have an alternate source of heating, so that if there's no light for 10 hours in the winter, you are not inside your house freezing. Thank you.
Wow. I think we can clap the order. Okay, can we appreciate everyone on the panel as they bring down? Thank you. Really appreciate the comment. Thank you. We can keep clapping for them. Okay. Yeah, I want to appreciate, I'm just doing a bit of thanks now. We need to go. I want to appreciate everyone that joined in organizing. Maybe not to call every name. Everyone that spoke on the panel that was part of organizing this program. Everybody here in person, I know it costs more to be in person than to be online, right? Thank you to everybody online as well. You know, we want to continue doing things like this. That's why we encourage us to join the community. We have the WhatsApp group. We're going to leave the link in the chats, and everybody here, when we close, we're just going to leave the WhatsApp group on the screen, right? So you can join. We want to start doing this stuff monthly. Something that we will share. So we are part of the community. So the next time we may do the business summit. You know, want to keep on doing this. If you enjoy it, share it with other people. Let them join. You don't need to be a member of our church to benefit from Tribe. We're asking you, if you cannot join the church, join the Tribe. You know, and if you are not in any church or you don't think church is relevant, please join us. Dominion City is a very good family to be. For instance, this Sunday we're having Thanksgiving. God has been faithful to us from beginning of the year to the end. Yeah, it's a good place to go. We're having Thanksgiving, and it's going to be like a party too. We have all kinds of food. We'll place the order. It's going to be delivered. Very nice food for everybody. And we won't have enough to go and share with the community, because we believe this is Christmas season. You know, so as we eat, as we thank God, we should also go and show love outside. Then we have a Christmas service on Sunday, the 21st. Yes, so that's the Christmas service, you know. And before the Christmas service, we have a movie night, and we're inviting everybody, whether you're online, here in person, you want to come and chill with people for this Christmas. You don't have anywhere to go for Christmas. It doesn't mean if you come, you don't have anywhere to go. But like, you want to chill, you want to come watch a movie with people with popcorn and drinks, come here. It's going to happen here on Thursday, 18 December. So our church is meeting here. You see, it's like set up like a church. You know, we meet here every Sunday. This Sunday is Thanksgiving. The upper Sunday is our Christmas service. And in between, you have the Faith and Flicks to come and watch a movie. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for participating. Amen. So let me pray for us. Can we stand up? Can we stand up as we close? Father, we thank you for today. We thank you in the name of the Lord Jesus. Can we all pray? Can we all pray? Everybody in the room. Everybody in the room. 30 seconds. Let's just pray. Father, we thank you for International Students and Newcomers Summits that just happened. We give you all the praise for all the lessons that was taught, everything we learned. We pray that we will increase in wisdom. And everyone that participates in this, everyone that joined this, there will be a change of story for them in the mighty name of Jesus. Wisdom has been transferred. It will be used well. Right decisions will be made. People will testify that because they joined this community or they attended our program, that their life was changed. Thank you, Father. Everyone that organized this program has been part of making it happen. Blessings will not leave their life. They will keep growing from one level to another. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen. Am I missing anything, organizers? Okay, there is snacks at the back with drinks. You know, you can take that. Get to network. Get to meet somebody you don't know before leaving. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.
Nice to meet you. My name is
Yeah, you vision Bible church. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm more or less in my field. Just wanted to join today because I missed the first thing. We even look at that. Okay. You guys done recently? How long? So, no. How's it?
What's that news of these so that anybody knows?
No, I go this trouble thing, I don't do that. Yes, they should go church, go talk one now. Be a lock box to go. Jesus, Christ, which kind of thing with that one? Thank God, I'm very good. Ah, God, Jesus, what the problem and God, I'm very. You don't get anybody can ever play a pound. All this with the neighboring anyway, no one. Oh, I know the house now. I know. I didn't know.
Go down. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't do this. Went on. You see the ideas I got from him. I know the chairman. Looks like chairman. You know that I start from something. Instead of passing.
Sabi, let's your blockchain, please.
Blockchain.
Yeah.
Let's see what for.
You get my friend wey just like he entered the team, but mostly what they do in contest. They do like regular job or not. But they make good money.
Are you serious? They do that Bitcoin and shares.
So no crypto. So the way you explain it to me, there's it's more smart contracts, something like that. So you learn how to build the whole system, and then you do contests. So some of these companies they want you to build their protocol and see if there's any.
I've never done it before, but I know it's a test. It's not solid. I know what you are doing. Go and play.
It's like so what am I using side thing? I still get this or side. Not really survival job. It's not. It's killing the mind.
What is the killing time?
This survival job, this security person, it's not 8 hours.
Yes, I'm a passive.
Like I mean, I believe there's another passage that is not, you know. So
It says, yeah. Yes.